You chose to follow the same path. Let's focus on that family. Like the Force itself, that family. Rogue One was beautiful because they took a different route and explored other aspects of the Star Wars lexicon. And so with this film, it just seemed like it was, like I told you, it was a bit of a letdown, my man. And it just didn't feel like a good end to what they were offering either. And this is like that monster that everybody keeps talking about. Yeah. Like, y'all could have done better.
You're right. You're right. It was a very big monstrous shit. And
bringing it back.
It was terrible. It was the stench was all through the theater for myself.
It's hot.
As well as the others. The children were crying. I cried because of the smell. Smell of the shit. Josh, could you, the Noble?
Well, okay. So watching the movie, the whole time, I just kept asking the question, what is happening? What is happening in the story, and what is happening to Star Wars? Like, why? I was sitting next to another Star Wars fan, and me and him were just going back and forth, like, what? Why? I don't know. I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
Right.
When the movie was over, I could understand why people would leave that movie thinking that was a good movie. And I also foresaw all Star Wars fans hating that movie, or at least a large portion of the Star Wars. I feel like this movie united the people who were split over The Last Jedi, because the Star Wars fan base was split over The Last Jedi, and it came together to hate this movie.
That was
man.
I mean, did you guys have fun with the movie though? Because like while you were in it, like I will say is I have a lot of problems with the story and everything in general, but like as a piece of entertainment and compared to The Last Jedi, I actually had a lot more fun with this one, even if I was still like, they're literally just saying what just happened on screen. All of this feels really kind of played. Snoke's in a barrel, like there's just
Here's the thing about it.
It feels really campy, but like I genuinely had fun at certain points with this one, whereas with Last Jedi, there were points where I really enjoyed what they brought up, but by the end of the movie, I left and I was just like, dude, fuck this. Like I did not have that one as much with this last one, but like I mean, as far as where you guys place it in just this this trilogy that we got.
Trilogy.
Yeah, where is it for you guys?
Well, it's the lowest for me because it's the most disjointed. It has nothing like, all right, both of the first few were someone's vision. That's the thing about it. Star Wars is about a person's vision and like how to do, and like I don't know, like after a while, what George Lucas has established and the little trinkets and the parts and building box that you made, it always seemed like the filmmakers, version of their version of Star Wars, their version of Star Wars. So it's J.J. Abrams' version of Star Wars for Force Awakens. It's freaking Rian Johnson's version of Star Wars for Last Jedi is flawed, wherever it is, just because George Lucas's was flawed.
Yeah.
I was just watching Attack of the Clones part earlier, and I was just like,
we all know
John things just not that lot. Like, don't I hate sand, all that shit. It was just bad. It was really bad. There's a lot of sand. I didn't like it. That's beside the point. Right. But Rise of Skywalker has no one's vision. It's everyone else's vision. It's all types of bullshit, all
it's
through
fan fiction.
Right.
They trying to clean up.
Yeah.
It's a fanfic. It's like they listen to everyone's complaints about The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and they made a movie in response to fan criticism.
They could have followed through on certain things. Like, can we talk about the plot at all, or is that like?
No.
Yeah, I think we should like kind of go through the movie and just like talk about plot points like as we go through the movie.
Bro, when I saw lightning, I was like, okay, so she's gonna go down that path. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, Chewie's dead too? Yes, like.
Right.
Now, who's believing she's going bad? Okay, now I'm gonna talk about this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Rey, since the beginning, has always been way too powerful. And it's one of the things where, it had to give the excuse for it. And I always said that, like, oh, she might be like a Palpatine or some crazy ass relation because whoever
People have been saying that from the beginning.
the midichlorians and stuff like that. The midichlorians, they all came into effect. So maybe that's why she's so freaking powerful. And people have said that for a while, but you kind of threw it away because, my whole thing about my problem with Rey, and everybody was like, "Oh man, you just hate." I'm like, no, I'm not hating. She's piloting the Millennium Falcon, a boat, a Corellian boat ship, a huge freaking ship. And like Finn is sticking, oh man, I can't shoot out the thing. And she does this crazy gangster flip, Tony Hawk 180, 360, by the way, 26,000 times 5. You know you about to hit that joint with a grind when you hit a freaking rail. No, not on the first try. She was just doing junks and getting quarter portions at the crib like 2 seconds ago. How is she doing that? So, and it kept that whole thing going on all the while, and now she's getting training like at the end, in the third movie. Like they rushed all this because they're doing all these responses to what I said forever. How about you figure it out correctly? One of my favorite scenes in the original trilogy is freaking Luke in Dagobah because because you gotta understand, man, this dude was just using blasters beforehand in Star Wars. It was like he was doing all types of other shit to try and swinging and stuff. Oh, that ain't no Jedi shit.
Swinging in New Hope, you see him playing with the little toy thing, the blocking shots from it. So there's like a little bit of establishment for, hey, he's picked it up before.
When he first gets it, he's throwing it, he's swinging it like a bat. He's like, it's one of those. I mean, I know, of course, it's the 80s. They're it's not all stylized and it's not gonna be all that craziness yet, But he's still the progression works for how the story kind of goes, for how old Luke is, for the training and all that stuff. And Rey has none, and she's just incepting people's mind. So you gonna close the door and go out here and change it. The stormtrooper like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, dang, dude, this is a little much off for rip. And then I'm just talking about the first movie. The second movie, she's instantly able to like lift rocks when we are already so like, oh, this is not all about lifting rocks. And really the whole movie saved by her lifting a bunch of rocks, which is a whole nother thing. And now we're going into this movie, and now we're trying to give some stripes on her. Now we're trying to throw some like opposition on her. And now she's force healing people and slugs and stuff just out of nowhere. And it seemed like a video game quest when it happened. I was like, didn't
you put it 100
like in the
right on the nose.
It was like in the back. It was like when they open up, I was like, oh, man. Like the next level? Like she's gonna go to the next level.
Right.
See, like you saw like a save point and the camera just pan back as it comes back over the shoulder and you start walking again.
Back into that? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know she had the healer spec.
For those just tuning in and watching, we're talking about the ever-loving shit pile that was the Rise of Skywalker. At least that's how I felt about the whole thing. Just you can feel your own ways about it. This is my own fire roasting of this.
Out of all three of the new trilogy, it's the lowest one.
Yeah, man, because there's nothing. Okay, but here's the thing about it.
You guys,
it's everyone who's you just said the oh man, is there ways that you can kind of enjoy it and this and that third, and I'll give it to you. There are parts where I was like, oh, little familiarities and stuff that I didn't get when I saw Last Jedi, and people did get mad. Where oh man, you like Last Jedi more than you like this movie. I'm like, actually, because even though I have my misgivings, I've told you about the train, the slow freaking chase and stuff like that when they're hitting them on top of the head, and I don't like the casino, but there's still I looked at it today. I was like, there's still a certain kind of vision. I just wanted Ryan to do his own story.
I watched The Last Jedi more than I've watched any other Star Wars movie. Yeah. Because there's so much to take from that movie. Whereas every other movie is you can on the first viewing you kind of get it. You get the whole thing, hero, bad guy, blow up, boom, they win, end the movie. You rewatch it because you love it, but not because you can take anything else from it. The Last Jedi was everybody's largest complaint about that movie is it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. And that's why I like it, because he was the first director to try to go in and do something different. And his execution was not the best, but it's the potential. It's watching a movie and seeing the potential of what a Star Wars movie could be that no other movie really presents that makes me like that movie. And I'm with Garrett. I'll put The Rise of Skywalker below The Force Awakens because The Force Awakens didn't really do anything bad. It didn't really do anything well. It's just a really middle of the road movie. The Last Jedi, it pissed off a lot of people, but a lot of the things that people are mad or criticize that movie about are the things that I like about the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Rian Johnson, he's awesome too. Like I am a fan of him in general. I just don't like.
Yeah.
This is where I was talking about the out of universe aspects of it, where it's like in real world. I think they just made a huge mistake by making a trilogy with three different directors, but breaking it up. Their whole plan in the beginning was like, oh, we're going to hand it off to a new director every time. We're not going to have a Kevin Feige type to have any kind of continuity in between them. We're just going to, hope that it ends up being good. And it,
they didn't even plan out the trilogy.
It's not the MCU.
That's the whole thing about it.
AJ had a plan, but then like the whole Ryan shit came into play. And like, okay, maybe not a plan for the whole trilogy, but I feel like he would have at least like gone with like the plot points that he had set up in that initial story.
Yeah.
By the time we get to The Last Jedi, I understand you want to subvert expectations, but like the whole film was like, oh, I'm gonna toss this lightsaber. Oh, you might be related to this and that. No, you're not. And it's just like oh, everything you thought was gonna happen. And I was like, damn. Oh,
yeah, but if
you just really want. And I didn't hate I would probably put that like I still put it above Rise, but like Force is would be above that only because again it was easier. It just felt like a rehash of like a story we already saw. And I understand you want to like reestablish a new generation and like what the mythos is and what it could be, but I'm like, after seeing this mofo raid like 899,000 like what Death Destroyers out of nowhere that we didn't know he had on a planet we didn't know he was on, and like we didn't need the First Order. Like, why didn't you just do that?
Exactly.
Like,
they started calling themselves the rebels in Last Jedi. It was weird. I was like,
that was really inconsistent.
Like the resistance. Okay.
Rebel scum. I'm like,
no, I really did that.
I don't remember. I thought y'all was a different name. Anyway. Basically, yeah, you're right, Red. But hey, man, you know me, bro. You know me. This is what I say. This is where I can be me. Disney. This whole thing would have been solved if Disney weren't just such pussies about it, man. It's one thing they really were. If you're going to do that, if you're going to allow your creative visionaries to go ahead and steer it this way and that way, you have to be able to like know when to come in or how to come in on the way where it's just like, all right, we're gonna pivot this way, because if you're watching Rian Johnson making this movie and subverting all that stuff, and you're going and watching dailies and you're clearing CGI, you're watching this movie a lot to make the movie. You're Disney. So however much money they made to they put in production to make that movie and stuff like that, you gotta be looking at it and be like, oh man, we have to have a plan for if this goes wrong. We can't think that everyone will like this like that, and we got to know what we have here. We just spent $4 billion for this to get here. Disney,
they made their money back though.
Yo, Disney, of
not
course,
all of it, but they making.
But here's the thing. Here's what I was gonna say. Disney has always had the freaking reputation of being the storytellers, the dream makers, and all these other things. And you take Star Wars, and you do that. Think about that. You gotta have some kind of respect. Okay.
Their largest problem is that they didn't plan this out. They just kind of said, hey, we're going to make a sequel trilogy, and these are the kinds of characters we want in it, and here you go, write it, and let's give it to 3 different teams.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they were thinking about. Like,
neither of them, like, right?
Like, if you're going to bite off Marvel so hard, at least take the good ideas.
Exactly. Take the good ideas, too.
Have somebody who's in charge of this and paying attention and actually, giving us
vision.
Yeah.
So
and
you can stick to that vision.
They're just going to bring back Palpatine. My boy is like, and the power of the darkness, I'm going to come to save the whole thing. It's like, you cannot save it, Palpatine. I'll try. Like, dude, you can't.
Can we talk about the fact that Palpatine didn't learn? Like, lightning fucked him up. The first row now. Like, that's 3 times he's And it's like, oh, 2 lightsabers? That's all it takes? Like,
Can he not stop?
With my power.
Can he not stop?
Yeah, but-
He was just gonna sit there and zap her. Like, can you just stop for a second?
No,
And let-
it's too
He
arrogant.
read that Mace Windu did that shit, and it was
Yo,
like,
he zapped the entire fleet. He took all these people out.
You saw it.
Mace, hey, guys, Mace Windu did that shit in the sacred Jedi text. Okay, they wrote that shit down, and she read that.
Listen,
Another one out.
I don't understand how Palpatine can plot the demise of the entire Jedi over and take over the entire galaxy. He can't strategize enough to think, let me try something different than just zapping the lightsabers for 10 minutes.
I'm strong and I'm arrogant.
Windu, he'd be like, never again. Never again. I'm not touching it. That shit hurts. Everybody has a lightsaber, and that's all it takes to deflect that shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
My diametrically opposed enemy, I'll run with this. But I'm going to keep using lightning, which is easily deflected by that one thing everybody has. Like,
It's too strong in the dark side of the Force to need to use the lightsaber. The Sith view that as primitive, and so like he's like, oh, I'm just gonna kill this bitch with lightning. But I'm like, yeah, it's the same thing, and then he hasn't learned it all because it's like, oh, he's arrogant. That's how he lost. Like y'all keep doing that, and like they brought back out of everybody's like, oh, there is no like hidden villain. This is the same cat, and I'm like, okay, continuity. But my man, it was just comical at that point. I was like, oh, bye, Palpatine. Good to see you again. Like I smell like he's gonna get fried again. This is stupid.
yeah.
and really, that's really where the whole thing kind of kicked off. The whole movie started off like that. You got Kylo Ren flying in to Exegol, the Sith. But now, you know, the Star Wars fan in me is over here just like, okay, that's cool. You get to see a Sith planet. You know, you only get to see like, and like just like how you watch Rogue One, he was like Vader's castle. Okay, cool. You're back on Mustafar. You know, little tiny bit, little tidbits that they've been giving you that Disney knows. They're like, all right, I ain't no Star Wars nerd. Here you go.
Yeah.
You know, here you go. And that's the thing about it, where I'm like, you know, it feels that way. Even when I was in the theater, I'm sitting there like, and I walk in and this motherfucker sees a jar of Snokes. You know,
Yeah. So how do we feel about the Snoke being a puppet? Because they only did this because everybody was so pissed that they just killed him in The Last Jedi, which I was cool with.
That was dope.
Because we don't need to know anything about Snoke, just like we didn't need to know anything about the Emperor. The story is about Kylo and Rey. It's not about Snoke. So I was cool, but they felt like they had to give an origin for Snoke. So now he's a bunch of puppets. So how do y'all feel about that?
Ryan didn't elevate Kylo to the full-on villain that he needed to really be by 3. By the end of Last Jedi, they had to have a huge big bad. So that's the thing about it. Like Snoke with being out the game like that kind of took it from that way. I was intrigued by seeing what they were going to do with Snoke because Andy Serkis did a good enough job, and Andy Serkis has been really good in Hollywood.
In everything.
I've ever seen him, man. I'm like, it's really good. So, you know, they never gave him his full-on justice in that movie, ultimately as well. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to kill the guy, come up with have something better or have something in store for your other villain. And that's one thing where I will say is a fatal flaw to Rian Johnson, like you said. Zach, you and I know, man, Killjoy, like where we were freaking back in the day, we were roommates, man. Freaking Breaking Bad. Rian Johnson had some of the best episodes. I always try and tell people. That's why I was excited for Last Jedi. I'm like, no, this guy showcases the human emotion, all this other stuff. But only problem when I'm watching Last Jedi and I'm watching the human emotion, I'm seeing this chick with a moon necklace. I don't fucking know who just comes in, who's just from some type of who is she? Oh, she's Rose Tico's sister. Who's Rose Tico? This chick. You about to just meet her real quick. Like she knows Finn. How she know Finn? Oh, they meet the same kind of way. Ray and Finn. I like want to see more Finn and Ray. No, you get to see more Rose and Finn. And then they make a thing about the necklace.
Taking Ray kind of away from Finn and really taking Finn's role out of the fucking game in general in my mind. Because like they were hinting super hard in the first one that Finn was going to be force sensitive.
He is. He still is.
Okay, for what? Because he can turn and look dramatically in a direction randomly.
Yeah.
He does. That's the only force power he has.
Yeah.
Look dramatically when shit goes down and he's not there.
Juice.
He gets
Like, hey,
to fuck around
they're
with
over
the in the beginning, and that's cool. But like, he doesn't do anything else with the force. And then Ryan Johnson is like I don't know. I feel like they set up this great relationship with Rey and Finn, and then in Last Jedi, in Last Jedi, it's like, what would be great? Let's take our two characters that have come so far together and not have them interact at all, just at all, the whole movie.
Well,
and then you're right. It's like Rose is put up there to be this, new girl for Finn. They even kiss at the end, and then it's like, oh, okay. And then in the new one, we've got him almost confessing to Rey, but that never happens at all.
There's no payoff to Finn. This Finn character. This is
was
one of my main. Let me come in on Finn, I guess, real quick.
Yeah.
Finn is one of the most wasted characters I've ever seen on film. He could have been much more compellingly started. They started so compelling with him to be a ex-stormtrooper.
Yeah,
defecting, and it was one of the things you would see that journey and how he would go across, and all the things that would bring up, and the old faction, he's taking people out, and this and that third, he's going over here, and they're like, wait a second, isn't that guy they messed around with a little bit of that kind of in Force Awakens, a little bit kind of, and mentioned a traitor here or there, in Last Jedi. But they could have did so much more. In terms of a dynamic script, they did not write one for Finn. In terms of his character arc, he just plotted the same path that he did in Force Awakens that he did in Last Jedi. Essentially, it just had Rose hanging out with him now. And, it just seemed like... And at the same time, they just kind of threw my boy to whoever else that wasn't Rey afterwards. They just like, okay, they're too close from the first one, and then it just seems like they need to get y'all around. Like Disney did this, like at the you at the sock hop or something. I need to back up, get the ruler out. Just like we got boyfriend, cute boyfriend. Like, what's this talk? You're in the club, file for the bub. Like, fuck. Pop bottles. Anyway,
oh God!
Oh, Jesus Christ! That's what it seemed like. Because then they just threw him to Rose, and Rose's whole thing. It would be less egregious if the kiss didn't come out of nowhere. If that kiss didn't, with Rose,
it didn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like it's the end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it didn't come out of nowhere.
She had she idolized him.
Yeah.
If she idolized him. So it's supposed to feel like it's not a real...
No. It was not well written. It was not well written inside the whole world. That was not...
She shouldn't have kissed him there.
To get to the point. She was like, okay, first off, let me just go ahead and go on that whole scene real quick. Y'all just gonna do a full-on frontal attack against these huge amount of ATSTs, whatever they call, whatever the big gangster variants and stuff like that, and they're getting mowed down, and Finn's over here. And at the same time, if you really want to go with it, I'm gonna do the John Boyega replay real quick. He was over here, was accepting his death, and he was over here. He was going. I'm like, okay, this would actually be kind of a satisfying thing for an ex Stormtrooper.
No, you would have been happy if Finn died right now.
No, it's not a
yeah, if it had to end that way, it would be one of those things where I'm like, dang, but it would have made the Empire Strikes Back type of like dire stakes. Things can go down. You don't know what happened. This is modern Star Wars. Oh my God, we would be mad because the black guy dies, or whatever. But it would be one of those things where it would still be a little bit more. If Last Jedi was a little bit better plotted here and there, you got to see less of, like I said, those side characters and more of your actual characters you cared about. Because the most interesting parts were like with Kylo and Rey and all that stuff that you wanted to actually see in that movie. And it's like, if you spent more time with it, that movie would have been like for a lot of people, but that's another thing with Finn, where you have to kind of have more time with him too in that guard to make that moment worth it. So even still, when I'm watching the movie 2 years ago and he's over here accepting his death, I'm like, they're not earning it. They're not earning it. And he's going all the way. Supposed to be speeding. He's in the red part of the laser, and he's like, it's supposed to go crazy. And how does Rose hit him? Rose hit him. She does not veer into. She doesn't like slide into him. No, because they're all going at one point. She T-bones this man like full speed. Like, how did she? She's a teleporter. She's like the Vin Diesel. Hey, let's go, family. Like,
Rose has the Force too, man. She has the Force too. See, they just didn't get to expand upon it because everybody hated Rose.
Man,
she's got like less than 5 minutes of screen time.
In Tokyo Drift on these fools.
They completely cut her from Rise of Skywalker. They were like, Rose, come on, and Rose is like, I can't.
And they know that kiss was awkward because they gave her the buddy pat. They were like, all right, just
yeah, exactly. She was like, I'm just gonna stay here and listen to the radio.
Right. Friend zone, like the Star Wars universe, like that's rough.
Peaced out. He pieced out so hard on her.
She had like a minute and 15 seconds of screen time to Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, they completely
trimmed that character.
Those boys.
Okay.
But the thing with Last Jedi, I liked her intro in that I actually the thing about Rian Johnson, he's great at, like you said, that episodic kind of storytelling, and so it could have been really good. I like the idea of seeing her twin sister and this introduction through the pendant thing, and I did not mind her really right up until we went to the whole cantina thing, and then I just didn't give a fuck about her or Finn or anything at that point. Once we got to the cantina, the casino. Once they got to the casino, and like, I mean, I agree with you that what you're saying about really liking the elements that Johnson introduced in there, the idea of like a gray space in between the light and the dark. There's a lot of cool stuff that he brings in, but as far as the overall story of like what happens, I don't think a chase scene works in space. And I don't think, like, if you cannot see them moving like in and out like an actual starfighter fight, I don't think the big hulking thing like works because you don't have a sense of scale. It's just like, oh, they're still chasing each other.
Yeah.
They're going super fast though.
Drop out the curve.
So yeah. So that's the thing about it.
You can go off and have an entire fucking side quest. While this is happening, it's such a dire thing that you can have a whole side quest to find something you don't even end up using or needing, the code breaker guy. So it's like, that to me, that's why I like I give Last Jedi a lot of props for these concepts that it introduced. But as far as the overall story and what happens, it just like it. I did not jive with.
No, you're right.
I think Kylo and Rey stuff is dope. I
think that Rian Johnson should have had the whole trilogy. I think if he would have started
in general, I agree.
I think if Rian Johnson would have started this trilogy, we would have had a Star Wars trilogy unlike anything we've had before. This trilogy is way too similar to the OT. The whole way the trilogy was even structured. I mean, we have Empire Strikes Back with the chase. We have Force Awakens with the New Hope on the desert planet. And then, we have like reveals of parents and things like that. Like it's too much similarity between this and the original trilogy.
Like, yo, Josh, I totally get you. And here's the thing about it. Like, this is what we've been talking about. This whole thing is just, all these movies are reaction movies. All these movies are reactionary movies to like the other one, and The Force Awakens is a reactionary movie to what the prequels were.
Yep.
Kind of hard to like even talk about, like, because I can't sit here and fault J.J. Abrams for what he did in Force Awakens a lot of times, because it was like, no, that was so crowd pleasing. I still watch it like, no, it's still. You kind of had to, because the world needed a little bit of Star Wars, kind of like that Michael Jackson "Love Never Felt So Good" song with Justin Timberlake. Everybody kind of needs to have one good one in their system, to get it out. Because it's like, I understand it, because Star Wars is such an important part for it. So if they started off like that, Josh, we would have a more interesting, awesome, deeply taken thing. But I feel like a lot of people would have been like still more mad, even if we would we would have enjoyed it. All of us, our young millennial mindedness, would be over here essentially enjoying it. Versus
the only thing that I have to say about that is that most of the normies don't give a fuck about any of the stuff that we're talking about when it comes to
Force Awakens. Those that
I know.
Like
I'm talking about the trilogy in general, right?
That
most of the normies who go see it, they just want to see some lightsabers and they want to see some stuff blow up. They could give a damn about the story. If you ask them the story right now of the trilogy, they wouldn't be able to tell you, and they saw all 3 movies. Yeah. So Disney would have made their money regardless. I get what you're saying, but I feel like even if they would have went with the Rian Johnson route, as long as he had lightsabers, the Force, and some ships blowing up, they would have still made their money. It wouldn't have mattered.
True.
He introduced some really cool stuff into the world that would have been cool to have seen across 3 movies.
Yeah, like fleshed out.
Yeah, exactly. But all in one, and in the middle of 2 other, like, stories from a different person, it feels really out of place to me compared to the other 2. But like, I just mean the fun factor for me, because like I didn't enjoy any bit of the casino side bit, and I didn't enjoy the chase mechanic at all in this one.
I just like a random application of the Force from General Leia, and I'm like, you can fly in space now and not die for free.
I would like to bring up one big thing. This is a huge part, and it's it's happenstance. The huge 30-year gap is a big part of this problem. The 30-year gap, but we don't know what happened in between Han, Luke, and Leia, and the way they didn't write it in, the way they didn't fill it in, the way they didn't really flesh it out at all. And like you said, at all. It was just one of the things where you that is the biggest egregious thing that they've done with this damn trilogy. You can't sit here and ignore all those years. Why is Han still at 70 years old, a freaking smuggler over here? Like, I'm still out here doing it, baby. I'm like, oh, okay, baby.
Senator doesn't get you shit.
Nothing.
You can have kids with a senator, and then you're
still now
on the side.
Yeah. She's out here with the guys. I'm like, dang, Leia, she's even got a scruffy voice, over here, gangster. I'm like, okay, General Leia, but why is Luke a disaffected, crazy man on his own island? And here's one of those things where I always tell people about where I enjoyed about Last Jedi and where I could see certain things and certain elements, and I'm like, dang, but they didn't have the balls to go all the way, because that particular movie, I feel, could have been the first gray Jedi movie.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought we were doing.
The first gray Jedi movie. That first I was waiting.
I thought that's where we were going with that movie.
That's where they should have gone.
Yeah,
that was
if it was a Rian Johnson trilogy, we would have had Rey and probably Ahsoka.
Oh man,
and it would have been about grayness. It would have been the whole trilogy would have been about grayness, about the in-between of the failures of the Jedi and the self-destruction that the Sith always inevitably end up at. Right. We would have had to been somewhere in the middle. I felt like that's where Rian Johnson wanted to go with it when he was talking about balance, and he was saying, had Luke, talking about the failures, the constant failures of the Jedi from sticking to this strict code. It always ends up making them blind to the dark side.
And it's sad that
Legends, canon in the back for that, where the Jedi go too far into order, and it takes a lot of characters who are more gray Jedi who actually bring balance to it. So that would have been amazing, and I agree with you. If Rian Johnson had the whole trilogy to explore that, it would have been cool. But what do you guys think about the argument of these are concepts that would be better suited for the now kind of expanding universes? So the syndicated television series like Mandalorian, upcoming Obi-Wan series. How do you guys feel about the idea that the main, because I've heard the argument that the main trilogies should really be this, what they were, this kind of battle of
Jack, hold off on that one, homie, because I wanted to continue, because we were going on Last Jedi, and I'm like, this is a Rise of Skywalker group. We're saving that to the end, or a little bit at the Peter off point at the whole thing, because we're gonna go off the whole thing. But we gotta go back into Rise of Skywalker from this Last Jedi joint. I don't want to go around. We gotta be out here.
We've just been on Last Jedi for a minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's what I'm trying to get into Rise of Skywalker push back into it. I'm like, dude, like, so because of that, because of where he went with, and with the vision, where they panicked. They were like, oh, we have to get him out of here. We can't, trust what they were doing. They didn't even trust any of his ideas to keep going with it because, honestly,
fans.
By that point, exactly because of the fans, because of the whole reaction, and exactly, you wanted to sit here and get that all indignant about it, but yeah, if you went and included him from later on, from the point where they kind of held hands and continued on, Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams, maybe that could have worked too. It's just it's a little thing where there was too much of an apology. No one likes it when, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's fumbling things all over. You're over here tripping over yourself, pots and pans flying over.
Me myself.
Exactly. I don't know if we're gonna be able to be appropriate now. The whole stream's gonna shut down now. Jesus, what the hell, man? What the hell, man?
Cultural appropriation.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Too much anime, that's all.
Funny, man.
Exactly.
For nothing.
Right.
I don't know. It's just funny. We're already. I mean, I don't know. It's one of the things. Screw. YouTube got away with. White people don't watch Star Wars. 1, 2, 3. Black people watch Star Wars. Watch Star Wars.
Excuse me, what?
So I made this whole thing.
I want to see more Star Wars. Like they went ahead and gave my man further power to fight with, and didn't explain this invisible bond between Rey and Kylo, where you can just pull shit through, pull matter through time and space. I'm like, that's cool. We got no.
See, that's one of the major problems with Rise of Skywalker. One of the major problems with Rise of Skywalker is they would start explaining some shit, and then something would blow up. And Palpatine would start explaining why he came back, and then you got horses on the side of a Star Destroyer. It's like, hold on, man. Like, what did he just say?
So the bullshit wackiness that they were doing, I said with the Force healing a little bit of it, and yeah, Chauncey, I'm sorry, homie, but the phasing through, because we did, it was cool and subtle with The Last Jedi, and they took it way too literal in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, they put a little bit of water in the front. I'm like, okay, I can understand a little bit of that because it's an element. It's a thing. It's a whole point. Where it could be perspiration. It could be a tear. It could be a whole lot of different things in terms of interpretation. This dude took a necklace. This man took a whole.
It's like he could have done that the whole time.
It opens up all kinds of implications.
And take shit. Come on.
Can he take her? Can he take her like out of it? Can you steal a whole person? It's like Freddy Krueger. Is it like what can you do now?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I know I can do this now.
Exactly. When Ben got surrounded by the Knights of Ren, I was like, Rey's gonna give him a lightsaber. And then she started.
You could You call that exactly. They had.
I was like, oh, okay.
It's like he did this. Real quick. Oh no, the shrug. That's Han Solo's kid. So I was like, that was cool.
I did, but son.
All right.
He just did a complete flip to the light side, and then came with an African fish thing. He wasn't protected, first of all. Then he got tossed down a ravine for this man to rehash something from Return of the Jedi by throwing him in the middle of a pit where he almost died from. And then I don't like the fact that, okay, she should have, first of all, killed the nigga Palpatine, forgive my language, killed Palpatine, called off the entire fleet.
Killed the nigga Palpatine.
I don't have to be dark side, I just control the joint. And then Kylo, his death was a little, and why did Leia not go until he would?
All right, you're obviously excited, sir, and I'm excited because I feel the exact same way. It's one of the things where the reason why you're saying it like that is because the way it was edited, and the way it was put together as well. I didn't know until a week ago that this was written not only by J.J. Abrams, but in conjunction with the guy that made Batman v Superman. I don't think we ever talked about it like that, and we will have a whole panel of it later on. It's coming soon in the future. My brother he loves the movie. I hate it. We're gonna have a whole contentious, but the same problems I felt with that movie kind of crept into the Rise of Skywalker, because that movie just, both of them had a breakneck speed and pace of like of just being chopped to hell. Just, all right, this next point. It's scene. It's not a whole story. It's scene. You're just seeing
set piece after set piece.
Yeah, it's just next part. And you're over here just like, and then literally over here, like I said, the video game part, over here. Okay, this part we go modular. It's very modular of a movie, and like they didn't. It's not a movie you do that with. Sorry, you don't make Star Wars that way. You gotta have a whole story. You have to. It's a swan song. It's literally the theme of the. It just flows. It needs to flow, so we know when it don't.
Next.
So I told y'all I have some notes here, and what my notes basically are just questions that popped into my mind as I thought through the story.
Go ahead, man.
So just thinking of the begin, not the beginning, but when we first saw Kylo and Palpatine on Exegol, Puppet Snoke. Why is he trying to kill Rey if the ability to clone a super powerful Force user? Why did he only just make one? I mean, he had some more in there. I assume he was trying to make more. Why would he not just possess Snoke? Why does he need to possess Rey? Snoke was more powerful than Rey. Snoke is more powerful than Kylo. Why wouldn't he just possess the puppet? And then why did he position the puppet as the Emperor? Why wouldn't he just be the Emperor? Why make a puppet Emperor? I don't understand.
So the answer to all that is they ain't planning shit out.
Oh, I know, but I'm asking these questions.
That's how Disney sounded.
If you just gonna drop, and to add on to that, why are you gonna make the cool shit happen off screen when Palpatine came back and scared everybody and said, "Hey, I'm back, bitch"?
Yo, that was the best scroll I've ever seen. I hated the Rise of Scroll.
So, dude, that's something about to say. The opening, the whole thing was bad. The whole thing, to the scroll. You're right.
Scrawl.
From the very beginning.
Watch, I was reading them because I don't even know what it was. I can't remember. It was some second grade ass he back. There was the dead wake up.
Yeah, the dead speak. That's what they said. The dead speak.
He said the dead speak, exactly. And it was over the Palpatine back, y'all.
Also, why is Palpatine broadcasting his shit to
why?
Just like to their minds.
And people argue with us and like, oh, you guys are almost like 30, so this is like for kids and stuff like that. No, this all were serials of like Flash Gordon, some type of cool symbols. I looked at the crawl for Attack of the Clones, and it was one of the movies I don't watch at all. And I'm glad you brought the scroll because I really wanted to make the scroll for that was way iller, simple to the point, concise, and you're still kind of excited to see what's in it. The movie could have been better, but really, damn, dude, the scroll got you there. He was like, damn, that sounds like a good movie. This movie was like, nah, this shit wall to wall,
trash,
shit.
Basura. I was let down.
He definitely tried to make the point about the dyad in the Force in Rise of Skywalker, which is that idea that like there's this concentration of the Force in two different people, one on the light, one on the dark. So as to why a lot of that, why Palpatine was kind of bullshitting in the background, I think what they tried to do in Rise is show that it's his plan was to like concentrate it for some reason, not in his own self, not in his own thing. I don't know that bit, but he realized that, and that's where this whole like, oh, I can reach through and grab shit through the Force and do new things like heal. I think that's where they're trying to say a lot of that came from, is that there's not, because I remember in the beginning of Force Awakens, they kind of talk about it, like background. People don't even know the Jedi. It's still is not that many show that it's his plan. Well, that was weird. Sorry.
Okay, you heard that too.
That was my computer that opened up the thing. I had to give the link out, and it like copied through.
Here in the Force night, no.
No, you had it. It's the Force. It's not how the Force works. So.
But no, yeah, to try and answer it, I think they were trying to really make it this idea that I really can't give you a good idea for Snoke. Snoke was, I think what Garrett said, they just they didn't plan it, and they had to try and write it in there because like they didn't give it that, they didn't even give it dialogue. They literally were just like, there's a vat of them over here. That's all you need to know. That's all we're gonna we're not gonna talk about it.
That wasn't even on the script. They stayed in the editing room.
When it's also like the question is asked, like, okay, if he's got like,
Been here the whole time, didn't you know? Didn't you know? I
But
mean, behind the scenes, every voice you heard was me. I'm like, bro, that is not
bad writing. That's what happened.
not what you had up this
Bad writing, bro.
it's bad. It's definitely bad. But to try and give them some credit, the devil's advocate a little bit, I think they were really trying to say that Palpatine, like, he was trying to concentrate the Force into one being and then take that being over. And he was kind of trying to have his cake and eat it too by using Ren to turn Rey, like build her up, create this conflict between them, so the Force keeps concentrating in between them. They get more and more powerful. Then Ren already being on his side, he uses him to try and turn Rey. Then he can take care, I don't know, possess her. I don't really know what the fuck. Because like, let's be real. He could force drain. He can drain the life from people. We see him do that right before he fucks up with the lightning. So it's like, dude, why don't you just, if you can just do that, why don't you just and then take all their life energy and you're good now? Take the robot.
He can just keep making Snokes and just drain them bitches like beets.
Right? Yeah, why can't he use
juice?
Or
Snoke? I don't know.
How about you take your OP amounts of Star Destroyers that you just have under the ground ice that's just
so that's my next point.
That are just all manned with people that's just been under the ice for years.
The Last Order.
And so you got these Sith people. I guess they're Sith people inside the Star. Are they shadows? Are they like the mentors that the people in your concert that were doing the Dark Knight Rises? That's the Dark Knight Rises. So I'm like, I heard there's Bane in them. That's the League of Shadows. I knew they were Sith.
You back.
I knew it. We're very initiated. Oh shit, Kylo. With Kylo like this. Kylo went to those shit. You feel in charge? I don't feel in charge. Like, all right.
Oh, bro.
It'll be perfect. But definitely they didn't go that route. They didn't think about it all the way because JJ just wanted to sacrifice for the shot and sacrifice for the image. You want to, oh man, see the big amazing craziness, and you're like, wait. As soon as you start breaking it down, and then people are like, oh man, this is just Star Wars. Like, no, there was some type of believability. It took years for a Death Star to get created. And then the one you saw years later was not even complete. Like there's a semblance of an economy. There's a semblance of a thing where, okay, the rebels didn't have anything, but the Empire had more, but it was still being built. And then y'all even mess around with that where like, oh, you're using Empire credits and all the other type of stuff. Like, like you said, in the Mandalorian and stuff like that. Oh, this is, the Beskar metal smelted by them and stuff. It matters. It matters. So for y'all to just say, oh yeah, he just had some Star Destroyers, just chilling on down there. So people in Corellia have been making Star Destroyers like with enough firepower to destroy lasers.
That's the part that got me. I was like, the fleet is one thing, but
now we already have Starkiller Base. Now we're gonna go ahead and have this point where it's just OP is all hell, and y'all gonna put a laser on all the stuff. That was one of the jump the shark moments of that was the shark moment of Star Wars all the way through and through. Like you can say it's 1,000 ships.
They didn't even redesign the ships. Like those are the same ships that were the old. Like I'm watching Star Wars Rebels right now. The animated series, are from the old Republic. Like those big Star Destroyers, those were originally the ones the old Republic used. Then when the Empire took over, they're the ones who started using it because you see them using the same triangle pizza-looking ships, and it's like they're
homie.
They're just dark Sith ones now. Like they're not even.
That's all, homie.
Control V. The whole time.
The Venatus.
That's all it is. Like, all right, we're just gonna Photoshop this joint real quick. Just, all right.
Yeah, come on. We
That's pretty cool.
Why spend money on redesigning that? We've spent all our money redesigning horses.
And like, y'all, it's not like I could have like give us an executive, the gangster black executive start a story. Give her those or something like that. Make it look sexy. If you're gonna do it.
Shit, but the prequels had like dope ass new ships that they introduced, crazy new aliens and stuff that we saw. The only thing I really liked about the Rise of Skywalker is the commitment back to the puppetry, and you actually see like animatronic characters, like that little Bebo blue block dude.
Oh, Babu Freak. Babu Freak.
That's my favorite character in all the Star Wars. I don't care what you say.
Exactly. For some reason, he is endearing, and that's something I was like, I wanted to hate him, but I was like, you know what? No, with me, Babu Freak. I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, you know what?
Whatever. Commit to it. That's better than seeing the bullshit CGI, that like infested the prequels. So
how y'all feel about Zori Bliss?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about it. I feel like they try to do Lady Boba Fett like ish kind of like a vibe thing going on with her, and
talking about Carrie Russell Jr.
Yeah. It was
more from that, cuz.
Yeah, but that's the thing about Boba Fett. We only got so much of him too. So like they I feel like, but that's the thing about it. This is the third movie, and you're trying to put her and what's my girl name that was hanging out with Finn this time?
I don't remember her damn name.
The Not Rose.
I just like I don't know. She got the awesome afro, and the black girl magic Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
feeling, she's hanging out and stuff.
I was feeling the character design.
She's a good actress. I can't remember the name right now. I feel bad, but it's one of the things where like, no, as an actress, she I can't fault her. She's a new character in the third movie. So and I said that in the trailer when I was like, why are they bringing in another character? Why are they doing this again? Like, but I feel like they tried to pass her on the Finn at the last bit, and it just feels like because we missed some stuff with the end of the cut. It seems like her and Billy D about to get together now too.
She plays Jenna. Yeah, I was like, okay,
there you go.
Right with my man Orlando, huh? Okay, good.
But Chance, like, there's a whole thing where like they say that the reason why he's on Tatooine is to find his lost child, and it's like a thing where positively she could have been the lost child and this and that and the third, but they didn't put all the scenes necessarily in there to like show all that and showcase it. So
I was about to say that's real cool. Would have been nice to be in the movie.
Why the hell's Lando on Tatooine? Why is he? He's like, yeah.
Dude, that's like a line of dialogue. It's like, why are you here, Lando? Oh, I'm trying to find my lost daughter. Bam. And we could have something there, but like, no,
he just went to Space Bonnaroo. He was like, let's go.
He said that he was there. He said that Leia had told him that they were coming, and that originally he went there to help Luke find the Sith holocron,
the Wayfinder.
Yeah.
Oh man! Talk about the video game stuff in here.
Okay.
Wayfinder, get the Sith. Thing over here, and it's like, okay,
you gotta find the holocron.
MacGuffin City.
You gotta find the MacGuffin to find the MacGuffin,
bro. Y'all remember those like little chocolate balls with all the little stuff inside? That's how the MacGuffin was. You just got MacGuffin. You open that stuff, got a sticker in here, got all the type of stuff in. That's how Rise of Skywalker is. Like, it's not a good candy, but I'm gonna take it. Like the chocolate's like melting around my finger and stuff like that. I got all types of stuff. The stickers got chocolate on it now. Like, it's okay, I guess. Oh, they fly now. Like,
and that's just that little bit of doubt. I was like, why y'all doing that to my Star Wars?
I mean, it's like Star Wars number 5. No. Josh, I know what you're about to say. It's kind of Star Warsy, but it's like how you got that strawberry, that red number 5 in your drink, where it's like, yeah, that's tight. That's kind of cherry, Yeah, technically Star Wars, yes, but we know how fucking chemical it is, how disassociated with actual any kind of feeling it is. They fly now.
They fly. I'm just like,
It's Marvel Wars. It's Marvel Wars.
it's Clippy. No, it works
Star
in Marvel.
Avengers.
It works in Marvel.
That's an insult to Marvel. Marvel's got their shit together, at least a little bit. Like, come on.
Kevin Feige.
They're not even doing Marvel proud.
They
Right.
planned it out. Yes, proper planning prevents poor performance, and everyone's learning that lesson with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing with, like, newer properties and all that stuff. But just to keep going with Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
there's just way too many things that, new elements that they tried to put in there that were reminiscent of a Star Wars film. That's why I say a lot of people can feel like, oh yeah, this is good, but this is a whole story we're telling. And y'all really try to tout this as the end of the Skywalker saga, which is like, if you want to do that, you're talking in 9 movies across 40 years, 40 was it 2 years, 40 about to be 43. Like, that's a lot to take in, and you're gonna put it.
Anybody? They don't bring back Anakin. They don't bring back Obi-Wan. Like, come on.
You hear their voices though, so that's as best you get. Like,
no. I want to see Force Ghosts.
Christensen is kind of. It's not like terrible. I'm surprised they got Harrison Ford to come back.
Yeah, me too. I felt like that. I was like, this man was. How much was the check?
How fat was that shit, bro? They got no Force Ghosts physically. So it's like, there, like, I'm all the Jedi, like on some haters. Like, yeah, dude, it was. Oh my gosh, you heard
your hair grows in heaven. We didn't know that. He just had long hair, like scruff and stuff. I'm like, all right.
I was like, okay.
You could have thought it was the same way you left him, but whatever. It's
What
do you
think about that little like playback from Force Awakens to there, the whole him seeing the memory of Han, and how it kind of, that whole conversation now has like 2 meanings, from where it happens in Force Awakens to how it happens in Rise of Skywalker. I mean, like, I liked it for what it was, but I'll be honest, like, I don't think I got the feels that they were really trying to get out of me.
And that's what I call Disney-fied bullshit. Yeah. It's like a schmaltz. It's like a certain sheen or schmaltz that, like, I get what they were trying to do, and I get what they were trying to make me feel, but like, y'all were forcing the moment.
Yeah, kind of like the kiss.
And that was the fans too.
Yep, lay that at the feet of the fans as well. That's one of the things. This whole series can be led.
Are there more Reylo friends than there are, like, I don't know what you call the Finn?
Ray Finn.
Because, like, I really feel like more people I talked to personally, it was more Finn and Rey than it was Rey and Kylo. But
it should have been.
Maybe that's on the internet,
Yep, Finn should have been doing a lot of stuff actually, but so should have Rey actually. But in terms of development, you can't make a compelling,
bro.
Yeah, you can't make a compelling character when they have no challenge. There's no challenge set before them. There's nothing that you can like latch on to. For me to be, oh man, I'm a dude and all that stuff like that, I guess, on the risk of mansplaining, whatever the hell, I would like a stronger character, a well-written character for me to show my niece or future daughter or whatever the heck, to be like, oh man, this is like, we got Luke Skywalker and all that type of stuff, to know the full-on strike for it is. It's when he's over there talking about some word converters or whatever the heck, he's all being a whiny little guy. I want to go to Takashi Station to get some word converters, to like when he's bossing up and like Jedi and Jabba's palace, and he over here is just like,
son, it's like you gonna get
you over here like, like you get there's a whole progression because he earned it. This man got a hand, like he's like, by this point in time.
Oh my gosh.
What does Rey had his time? We over here looking at it, first movie out the gate. You gonna shut the door and do this, whatever else. Stormtrooper, like, all right, I'm gonna do that.
James Bond,
exactly on top of that. It's like, the like behind the scenes, like, dang, you just punked James Bond. Like,
how?
How you gonna do that? You whipping the Millennium Falcon, which is like the equivalent of whipping like a 1972 Cadillac, like you're over here down a freaking drag race. You over here is Tokyo drifting a 1972 Cadillac, like perfect along a parking garage, just like you saw that thing in Tokyo drifting and went real close. Like that's exactly what she did. First try.
Because I'm like, if she was a Skywalker, all right, you're a decent pilot.
So
But it was like, yeah,
the stripe that goes into making a good character, the overall for when you finally and to her beating Kylo Ren the first time, like dude, like this, I get it, he's injured and he's double teamed and all of those type of stuff, but there is no threat to our villain, Kylo Ren, the guy that you brought up to be like this Darth Vader guy, and then there's no challenge yet again for our protagonist that we've been sitting here focused that we got to root for, because at least have her to the point of being knocked down, looking up, and the thing breaks apart, and Starkiller breaks apart to the point that maybe she got a few really good hits and stuff like that, but she ultimately would have lost had that not I did like if they did it like that, where she's not over here like I'm gonna cheat you trainer, and she's over here like, oh yeah, she's like the Force, oh yeah, I'm gonna just use it on you, and then like, oh well, she's just gonna win.
Mary
Of course. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you forgot, you reminded me about that thing, Force. We got like she could have played Nellie's Air Force One. She, oh yeah, Air Force Two per.
one.
Well, that would
You only need one per Air Force One.
to fight together and do some stuff, because her and Finn were in the I like seeing Finn with the lightsaber in Force Awakens. I like that first fight with them. But talking about what you were saying with Kylo Ren too, like they're trying to pump him up as Vader, but like Vader doesn't lose a fight at all in the first movie, in the first trilogy, right? Like he doesn't lose any fights until it gets to like, I think
the third one, to Return of Jedi.
He comes out on top every time.
The most you can do, he's like a monster, because like the only thing they did, even like in Empire, like they shut the door on this man. He's like lumbering through, and like you like, nah, dude, I don't want any parts of him.
Yeah. He's
gonna wreck all kinds of shop. Han is captured. He's in carbonite. You thought he was gonna die. When I remember a little kid, I was like, oh my god, he got captured. The smuggler, like he don't even need this man. He's gonna die.
But then Kylo is like, I mean, not only is I'll admit that he's wounded in that fight, but like the way they wrote him, I wasn't rooting for him to win either. So it's like, I don't care. He's just a loser, and he just keeps losing. And then finally the time he wins, it's against his own knights. Which, can we please talk about the fact that the Knights of Ren only existed to fight Kylo Ren?
They did nothing.
The only reason there is to walk and look.
To walk. That's all they did the whole movie. Walk,
that's all they do.
Step together.
I'll tell you, I like their outfits.
Opening scene, it's mostly fucking Kylo Ren, and then you're like, oh hey, there's some guys behind him, and then they're just gonna show 3 more scenes of them walking, and then Kylo kills them all. That's all they do. Like they had such awesome. I even was listening to a YouTube thing, Stupendous Wave, about how
I love Stupendous Wave.
There's like a visual book that was released that's canonizing a lot of stuff now, and they said that the Knights of Ren apparently existed before Kylo and were in order before the whole thing. So they've got this whole big backstory, and it's like dope. They walked 3 scenes and then got their ass whooped. That is all they did.
Well, yeah.
For the Last Jedi.
For me, I felt right. The Knights of Ren were supposed to be like this gangster, almost like a space motorcycle gangster clan of just like, yeah, we about to just like, we're all hard and edgelord and this and that and the third. But I felt they'd be fleshed out at some point. And then like even in this movie, I was like, oh, they got to write the Knights of Ren. I'm like, y'all should have did like at least have them a bit more in the movie. I'm like, I'm sorry, they should have been shaking up a lot more things.
Should have hurt somebody.
Name one of them. What weapon did one of them use?
A staff?
Kind of
axe thing.
Like Rey uses a staff too. There's nothing like
no reason, because she had a lightsaber and a blaster. We're gonna get past that.
Yeah.
Like a scythe thing.
Yeah, that's how you don't write characters, because they built them up so freaking much in the first movie, and I'm like, all right, okay, cool. When they finally show up, because he's gonna make a call of them, because whatever reason they're not here in this film, it's gonna be dope. And they just like no payoff. Like a lot of things in that film, supreme letdown, like no payoff. And I was like, why did y'all? Oh, what were you smoking and where can I find it? Like it was so stupid.
What type of crack were y'all doing? Like what type of thing? Because
Like, what?
Right.
Like, y'all go back to the 80s on that one?
and this is what we as fans get credit because we know like you have so much at your disposal. You have so much at like just right there in front of you that you got the CGI people, you got the best puppeteers in the game. You know, people cut their teeth on Star Wars movies. They be like, you know, I'm doing what? A Star Wars movie? They're gonna turn in their best work. They're gonna give you your all. And these people are gonna go see it. Like all types of people are gonna go. Like you know, they've been inspired and growing for at least like give us something of worthwhileness. And they did not. They were like, you know what? Nah, y'all don't need that. We're gonna go cash grabby. Then we're gonna like say forget all that and not give you anything. If you're gonna say forget everything, give us something of substance. And then you're gonna panic at that point and still not have any kind of stones about yourself and be like, what? I'm just gonna cover up and just kiss my tail between the legs and give him a bunch of Star Destroyers. Just figure it out, baby. It's just like because that's how they felt. I'm like, there's no type of compelling thing, and I'm like, you guys have desecrated over the course of this sequel trilogy the 3 main actors that we've been all waiting to see since 1983. And that is egregious. That is paramount. That is the worst thing possible. You wasted Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. And now we really can't get this back. This is what we're stuck with.
Performances, which is heartbreaking in itself. Like I hate making fun of the Mary Poppins shit because it's like realistically, Carrie Fisher killed it. She killed it in that role. She kills it in the bit in Rise of Skywalker. It's like it sucks, and that's actually why I'm interested. Bringing it back to Last Jedi, I hated what they did with Luke. I hated the whole thing they did with Luke. I hated who Luke was. I hated the whole concept of the way they played him. I feel like Mark Hamill hated playing him that way too, and I felt like that came through really hard. And I don't feel like even Rise of Skywalker tries to address it. I kind of agree with you where it feels like it's placating. It feels like they just it's like oh, were you guys upset? Well, here's him saying he's sorry. We're sorry, you know, like the South Park bit where it's like we're sorry. We're gonna do it again, but we're sorry. That's fuck. But yeah, like I'm curious what you guys think because like that's the only real bit about Last Jedi that like I am upset with Ryan in the writing aspect because I don't like the bit of the story, but like the way that actually like
if you're going to do that, if you're gonna make Luke like that, you better have a friggin' reason to do this. Like that's the thing about it. If you're gonna make him disaffected, disjointed, not feeling the Force or trying to cut himself out and close himself off from the Force, then he better have a damn good reason to do it. Yeah, damn good reason to do it. And that's one thing where you didn't see, you could not believe it. Like I was sitting there making the story up, you know, in my head, dang near. You know, it's one of the things where I was over here like, okay, you know, I can kind of see it. You know, it's been 30 years. You know, he's been over here. He hasn't seen anything, you know, change and this and that there. But I started realizing, like, I'm writing the movie for Ryan. I'm like, no, I should be seeing this more. Why am I looking at this casino part? Why am I looking at this part? You got to explain this all the way through. You got to show me a through line because this is movies. You have to show us rather than tell us. You know, because you know that was the whole problem with the prequels. Oh, I just saved you from that thing of gun docks. Oh, that was you, master. No. That would be really awesome to watch, guys. Rather than you talk about that in the elevator. You know what I'm saying? It was not. It wasn't good. It wasn't the best type of thing or way to represent Luke at all because you know that most hopeful youth, that awesome young like man would not ever shake. Like he, you know, and they tried to do that, try to make it seem like he reprieved himself and did it at the end. But I'm like, this man's projecting himself. He died a coward still. He still wasn't even all the way out there.
I'm disagreeing heavy with y'all right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't agree with y'all.
It's fine. It's fine. And this is why we're here. I wanted to go because it's one of the things where like Luke, I do definitely see exactly where it should have gone, where it would have. I mean, man, it would have been awesome if they explained a little bit of this because we had no inkling of any of this. There was no plotting of any of this.
I think we got enough information about Luke, about his history, and about what motivated his exile or his exile
Yeah.
in the movie. We didn't need to see every little thing that led to where he was. It's been a long time since we've seen that young Jedi Master.
Yeah.
Jedi. A long time.
Gotta be that young though.
He put his heart and soul into rebuilding the Jedi Order, only to watch his own nephew tear everything down. Combine that with his education in the history of the Jedi, just knowing all the repeated failures, knowing what happened with Darth Sidious, like he's like, it's done. We are the ones who keep producing.
My question to you is
all the problems in the galaxy.
So my question to you is, if you've been fighting all that fire and you finally doused out all the water, and now your nephew started to fire, you're gonna just sit there and die in the fire. You're gonna sit there and just succumb yourself to it. Because over time, most people get mad at it because Luke Skywalker has that over time, like, nah, man, he was a scruffy little farmer boy who was just sitting there with unrest about himself. He was just like, no, I gotta get out there. I gotta get to the fight. Like, no, these people need me. So like, over time, even if his nephew did it, I'm sorry, his father did the first one. So it's one of those things where like that ain't even that crazy. Where it's like,
the thing about Luke in that movie is that you're not supposed to agree with the position he begins the movie at. You're supposed to look at him and be like, what the fuck? Go and handle your nephew. Like, you're supposed to feel that way. You're supposed to be great in all of those situations.
Murder, though, to kill fucking, like, when they show that flashback for when he senses the darkness in Ben, this is the guy who looked at Darth Vader, the baddest, most evil murdering motherfucker in the galaxy, and was like, I bet there's good in there. I bet I can change him. Like that is some like psycho level shit, level of hope, and he accomplished it. He was able to get Darth Vader to convert to the good side. Because
what you're forgetting is that he also hammered the fuck out of Vader for a good 30 seconds before he stopped.
So here's the thing. I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up.
Why was that his first go-to, though? He's like, that's so weird.
At first, you got to realize the whole timeline of Luke's feelings about Vader. He didn't start feeling that way until he found out he was his dad.
Yeah.
Only until he found before that.
Your blood, come on.
No, before that, he was trying to take him out because he thought, he was like, no, you came off. He had such a huge rate. He was trying to attack Vader and take him down and being used by Obi-Wan. Ben, why didn't you tell me? Because he was trying to use you to kill him, boy. Like, it was one of the things where, no, he didn't have those feelings of like, you know what, you're just so good and I'm about to do this stuff like that until literally the third movie, all in one. Oh, I know you're my father, because he finally accepted that. He literally has a whole talk.
Yeah, why is he gonna forget that lesson? That you know,
he did it.
That huge lesson with his nephew. He's like, he sees it, he's like, oh, this kid's growing in the dark side, and instead of thinking maybe I should try and convert him like I did my dad, Darth Vader, I'm just gonna let an emo punk kid ruin the entire thing I've built, and then I'm gonna go run and drink alien milk for fucking 30 years.
And that's how I agree to the point where that his resolve because here's the thing about it. You can't say, hey, they're overrun with all the Sith and the dark side, and now the light and the Jedi has to die. And it's like, so you're gonna overrun everything with the dark, then that's stupid. Yeah. It would never have no counteracting measure, man. If Luke's resolve in that whole point in time to do that, to do away with it, that's the only thing that was a little bit weird. Even me watching the movie when I saw it in theaters and taking it in for its 2017-ness Star Wars, I feel like that was like the most, politicized, like modernistic, what that year was, on the nose kind of thing for it. But it just did not flow well in terms of the mythology of what we usually see with Star Wars. But to be different, just in sake of different, yeah, I get the artfulness of it, but it doesn't have legs like it really should, and it doesn't make all the full-on sense like it should from beforehand. Like because it's established from 6-7 movies beforehand, homie. You can't sit here and like,
so
it's just
when I discussed The Last Jedi with Star Wars fans, that's how a lot of, especially people who are fans of the OT, that's how they feel. Oh, not my Luke. when you talk about the movie to casual moviegoers, they understood perfectly. And I'm not talking about people who've never seen Star Wars before. I'm talking about people who've seen the Star Wars movies but aren't really heavy Star Wars fan. They understood perfectly why Luke was that way. They would explain to me why Luke was that way and what his character arc was in the movie. What Rian Johnson did in that movie was give Luke a new character arc. If he was just Yoda again, that would be a really unsatisfying character arc for me in this new trilogy. I mean, we're just basically seeing him sit there, wave Rey around and then bye.
And I totally agree with you. You know why I'm saying all this, dude? Like I said, that huge 30-year jump is a problem. We didn't get to see him do all the cool stuff we really wanted to get him to see. The whole thing is going to see like seeing some of our favorite characters doing all these things, because we only have so many chances to see Mark Hamill's face as Luke Skywalker, as so the big problem is that 30-year jump, is that freaking huge gap where we don't know anything. And so now when we finally get that little chance at 2 hours of seeing him, then we didn't get to see since 83, this is what we get. That is a huge part of what we have in terms of
that's what a lot of the people who defended Rian Johnson on Disney's side, Rian Johnson who wouldn't shut his fucking mouth. That's what they kept saying, is that fans are upset because their fan theories or their headcanon wasn't on the screen in The Last Jedi. And that's what that sounds like when people say, that's not what Luke should be. How do you know? Because like you said, we don't know what the hell happened to him. How many people do you know at 50 are the person they were at 28?
2 seconds, yo. 2 seconds. And my brother just sent me a little message. He just said, I'll only say Yoda and Obi-Wan also gave up on the Force and sat on a planet alone.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Yo, think about this.
I thought about that too. I was like, that was a Jedi way for a bit.
Yoda and Sidious had a chair battle in the Senate Hall. Yoda falls down and then he goes into exile.
I watched that today. It was still the most punk ass stuff you ever
heard. Nigga beat my ass.
Luke just got upset that his bitch. Like, there's
in good health too.
Just the difference between Yoda and Luke's decision in why they did it. Like the whole Yoda, again, genocide of the Jedi, and then Luke is like, my nephew is being a brat. Like,
it was another genocide of the Jedi.
But one says the Jedi needs to end. Like, that's what I'll say. Like, Luke's resolve is like, all of this needs to end.
He killed all 12 of his schoolmates. Now there's no more Jedi. Like,
there aren't.
I mean, it's all done. All my disciples are dead. I'm done.
I think the magnitude's a little different.
I'm hanging it up. Like, he just flipped it over. He flipped the table over. Luke is a sore loser.
Well, Luke has always been impulsive. I mean, that was his problem in Empire. He's always been
after he's Mr. Cool Man, Mr. Awesomeness. Like, no, he's not. So he's a little bit more.
His impulsiveness is a character trait that he has to temper, which he didn't do. That's why he just made the decision just to go into exile, and then he just made the decision to project himself across the galaxy to fulfill his role as a legend or a hero to inspire the Resistance. Like he just makes his decisions, and that's what Yoda was like. Like, you still don't get it. Like, your failure is supposed to teach you.
5. He got over that by 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wasn't trash runner. You talking about Anakin? That kid was over there like driven too much by this, but like Luke kind of grew past that by episode 6. So it wasn't that he made rash decisions. He saw something, felt something, and knew a truth that no one else in his lineage had made a decision to make. He was like, I'm going to shut this whole thing down, because he'd already brought balance. There was nothing else to deal with. So he went ahead and did off his thing, but it's just like, I don't understand how he, like, knowing a piece of canon that they've written recently, how he wasn't able to stop what Kylo did.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I feel like he learned the lessons in the first trilogy that it like would make the mistakes of the newer trilogy. They don't seem to make. It's like, that's why I think a lot of people are saying it doesn't line up, because it feels like all the lessons that he learned and the growth that he went through did not really lead to much actual change in anything, including himself, because he's less of a realized person when you see him 30 years later than he is at the end of the trilogy. He's more of a realized, like, actualized character. In the end of, and when you see him in Rise of the, or when you see him in the beginning of Last Jedi, he's like, it's like he's disillusioned. He's whiny. It's like it's not the character. And I agree with you saying, like, hey, it doesn't line up with my headcanon, and I don't jive with that, so I'm just gonna reject it. But I think the more thing is that it feels more of a betrayal to the character that we left off with, because it's like, I get that you're serving this role, but you're not the character that I remember you being. And we haven't seen, like Garrett's saying, this 30-year gap for you to become that. You just are this now. And that's like whiplash.
Okay, so when you first see, like, when he does the whole throws a lightsaber and shit, and you see how he's all like not the Luke that you remember, did you think that's not Luke, or did you think, how did this happen to Luke? Like,
exactly. But that's the thing about it, Josh. You just said, how did this happen to Luke? Exactly. I thought that. Here, I want to level with you, homie. No, I like Rian Johnson's portrayal of a lot of different things, my dude. He just did not fully flesh it out. He has a very emotive, a real good feeling of a human, but like he doesn't have the full on. He's not well versed as well in like the character of Luke Skywalker. I feel like there's certain things that he's missing certain parts. He's not. He likes about a Star Wars, but he likes it on a certain kind of level where like this is a movie that should be informed like by a lot of different people. I'm sorry, it should have been like 12 different Luke Skywalker experts right behind his head. I don't know. Disney, you had so much money. There's some over here like, honestly, the fans would have did it for you. Like, it's one of the things I'm like, I don't understand. Okay. Like, at that point in time of like standing there right next to Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill had like just looking at some of the interviews and things that he said about it, and just seeing how
he was not fucking with this new look.
And he knows the character. He's been playing it for years. He's earnestly known that he's been able to say these lines since 1977.
Let me point out something that you said. We just all laughed that Han was still a smuggler after all of this time, after being a general in the rebellion. Now he's a smuggler again. We just laughed. Yeah. He's exactly at where we left him. That does not make sense. Or at least you're wondering, why is this old ass man still the same he was at 30 years old?
Where you going with that? I get where you're going with that, but even with it being a Jedi, that like the main like Han Solo is not the main protagonist. Luke Skywalker is the main protagonist. Rey is the main protagonist. The Jedi is the main protagonist. You're always going to be able to do way more with Luke, and we should do more with Luke.
That's what they did.
And they didn't. He's just sitting there drinking titty milk, titty blue milk.
The more than this wasn't good though. That's what I think I'm getting at, is that it's like what they did with Luke, I don't think satisfied much of anybody. I can get your point of like the more casual people are like, well, he just kind of fulfills the role, but then it's like, well, then what was the point of the character in these first three movies? And that's one of the main things I don't like about Rise of Skywalker in general, and a lot of these
his character arc in the original movie was the hero's journey. That was his character's arc. The saving your father, the leaving your home, the wise old man, the stereotypical hero's journey. George Lucas literally took the book, put character names on them, and then made a movie. That's what he did.
Light versus dark.
In The Last Jedi, or I should say the sequel trilogy, it's not about the hero's journey because Rey is the hero now. So we don't need the hero's journey from Luke anymore. Here, Luke's character arc in the sequel trilogy is coming to terms with his status as a legend, and having to reconcile himself as a real person and himself as a legend. That was his conflict in that movie.
Oh, I mean, it's really we get exactly when he flipped the whole lightsaber over his head. That's a don't meet your heroes moment. That's literally the don't meet your heroes type of thing. Like, I get the whole concept of it. I talk to my brother all the time about BVS. I'm like, oh, I get what they were doing. It was just bullshit. Like it was just like I didn't know.
I don't agree. I think that
no, because here's the thing about it. I do agree that if I'm going to see Luke Skywalker do all and be all disaffected and do illusion and all that type of stuff. Like there has to be a huge lynchman. There has to be a scene. Like, dude, they cut away in that movie from him knowing about Han's death. He was like, Chewie, where's Han? And they cut away. There's a lot of things that they did not do in that movie where if you just stood there, we would be way more affected and feeling it with Luke like another friend to the rebellion. Like that.
You know, there's a scene.
Right
there's a Luke and Han scene.
Oh, man.
There's a Luke and Han scene.
Yep.
They edited it out of the final cut of the movie. There is a Luke and Han scene.
But that's the thing about it, bro. It's out of the final cut. It's out of the movie. It's not in the movie. So things where it don't count. Or just like I talked. Greg, my brother said, leave BBS out of it. No, because just the same exact way you feeling that, you be like, oh, I want to take it. No, it's not in the movie. I don't want to watch the ultimate cut. What did they put in theater? What did they put in theater? What did everybody see?
It was
exactly
what everyone had access to. So yeah, Josh, it don't count, dog.
Exactly, but that's the thing about it, where I'm like that's the only part where a lot of little parts of minutia where if you just squeezed out, you're like, oh shit, like that one part right there, that Rian Johnson's dumb for that. Like, why would you not leave that in there? And that is what us as Star Wars fans should not be penalized in terms of pointing out and saying that should be in there. No, that is very much so a valid thing.
That's the editing team. Now you can't blame him for that. That's the editing team.
This was his movie. No.
But directors don't direct editing.
Oh, he had a whole bunch of control over this one.
I'm about to say, I was like, Peter Jackson is in his editing room all the time, so I think that's
Disney. I don't think Rian Johnson.
They would have already had a way better semblance of a story this whole time. Now they got the hands on the story. Now they got the hands on the wheel. It was his vision. He decided to do that. That was on the cutting room floor.
I've heard of stories like that where like a director directs a movie and then it's edited to shit and it's fucking horrible. But like, one, if you're gonna put your name on something as big as Star Wars, I'd want to have my hand on that wheel the whole time. And if I take it off, that's my own damn fault.
You know the story of the original Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah, but this isn't that. This is Disney. This is Star Wars. This is a sequel trilogy. This is nowhere near 1977. This is 2015 to 19. Nope.
There's a lot more money behind this now. People should have their shit together. I'm just saying. People should have their shit together for this. Like, the amount of money that you can just get from putting Star Wars on something, you should be able to, have a plan. And it was like I said earlier, if you're going to bite off Marvel this hard, at least do something. Like that whole thing we're talking about, the flip thing. When you asked, like, what was my first thought of was it like, how did Luke get here, blah, blah, blah. My first thought was actually like, God, stop being Marvel, because it felt like a Marvel laugh. It felt like they were trying to get that cheap laugh, and it was doing it with something that like the fandom would feel is sacred, and so it felt like this weird. I all through all these new trilogies, I've been feeling like you guys are trying. Like there weren't that many jokes in the original trilogy, and the prequel, all the jokes were like slapsticky as shit. So it was like clearly kind of more for kids, but there were some real serious moments that could actually pop up. In this one, it's like, I don't know. It's like they're trying to be jokey and laughy and ha ha ha, and then have that same gravitas that the first trilogy had. And I feel like they just rode the line so far in the middle that they don't really satisfy either side, because I didn't really like most of the jokes, and the serious parts they felt like there wasn't enough. You didn't. It's like Garrett was saying, you didn't spend enough time actually building on any of these characters, making me feel anything for any of these characters. And then the characters I actually do care about, the characters I spent multiple movies loving and growing, and like you just fucking toss them aside and kind of interpreting them in ways that I'm like, all right, like you were saying, it's like a fan fiction. It's like this is really shitty fan fiction. Like, postmodernism, you can interpret shit 1,000 whatever ways you want to, but why you got to do it in a really hokey kind of boring ass way? Like I think about Luke from Legends, from the EU, from the expanded universe.
He was God. He was Jesus.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker. Like, come on, we're not going to get Mara Jade Skywalker at all. We're not going to get
no red hair, dog.
Fell in love with him. We're not gonna get Luke doing his stint as a dark Jedi for a good time. We're not gonna get any of that. We're just gonna get, I'm upset that my nephew's a bitch and I want to go drink cow milk. It does not fucking, I don't think it
It
does
was more than that, man.
like, and I don't feel like the role
gosh.
that he even serves in these movies is something that needed to be filled by him. It's like he's just there so that, you know, we can sell the Mark Hamill toy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like the thing is like, the role makes sense. The character they put in that role doesn't make sense. I understand the necessity for his role in that story for Last Jedi, but you could have just come up with, I mean, fuck, you're coming up with Snoke and all these new characters. Just have a fucking new Luke. Don't even put Luke in it if you're going to fucking, you know, take the character that we've built up and just 180 whiplash him around. That was my whole thing. And I get your point, though. Like, I at least am glad that they tried to do something new. And I definitely didn't hit with me. And if it hit with other people, I'm glad for that. But I feel like it was we're not going to put enough effort into our new characters, and we're going to kind of tarnish the legacy of the old characters. So it just didn't hit for a lot of people. Like, I mean, who out of you have to rank out of all the Star Wars movies, mainline story movies, your favorite characters. Are any of them from the new trilogy?
Just Bobby Fruit.
I like Kylo.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like Kylo Ren.
I wanted more from Kylo, but yeah, he's my
three. Are any of them in the? And I mean, that includes everybody. So you got to know you're knocking out too.
I like what Kylo. I like what Poe used to be.
Poe and Finn could have been so good. You know, you could have fixed the Last Jedi by taking out Rose and doing what I bet they wanted to do: stick Poe and Finn together, because Finn's whole thing about learning that war was bad. Why would you have to teach a stormtrooper that war is bad?
War is bad.
Like, he stopped being a stormtrooper because war is bad. Like, why? I don't understand. They should have had Finn teaching Poe that war is bad, because Poe just wants to hop in his cockpit and blow some shit up. So Finn should have been the one teaching him, like, yo, bro.
Let's bring that whole thing in. That would have been great. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they could have played off a lot of things. They could have did a lot of things. They could have did a lot of interesting things that they did not go down. These are pathways where we're talking about, where I'm like, hey guys, I don't care what you're saying or this, that, and the third. You guys didn't plan it out right. And it's glaringly obvious as a person who does watch Star Wars movies and loves movies in general and stuff like that. That's my point about it. I'm like, yo, we need more out of this Luke character, because I can sit here and put together things all together and all day and put puzzle pieces together for Luke Skywalker. I know enough about Luke Skywalker, but the person who's watching that in the theater, sitting their butt in the seat, paying their $10, $15, $20 some dollars, whatever is IMAX or something like that, they need to figure out why he is like, this is not gonna go the way you think. And like, yeah, we know that's a thing that's coming right to our head, and they're saying it right to the audience. We get it. The subtext and the intertextuality is all there. I get what they're doing. They just need to do better.
Trailer was on.
That's all they need to do. They need to just do better, man, because at the end of the day, you can't sit here and wink at us all day when you don't have anything else to, you know, like to put forth, because now you're just sitting here treading the same thing, having Palpatine come up there and act like he was there, having oh yeah, we planned this whole we're falling with style. That's Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, see what I did at Disney? It was like freaking, like, they definitely, you know, that's how I feel about this whole, you know, series, because now we got a bunch of overworked CGI people, reshoots, you know, actors over here like, oh, let's show your ending faces for how the ending went. And they're like,
oh, you saw that?
They're like,
that was hilarious.
It's like Game of Thrones all over again. It's like season 8 Game of Thrones. Everybody's like, oh, well,
they already knew. They already know. Do you guys believe Kylo's turn? Do you believe that turn?
Oh,
like you were like, oh yeah, that's a light side turn.
Nah, man. They did a whole thing when they turned together, and they're like, you know, yeah, we're together, we're on the same side now. And it's like, I get it, but yet again, they didn't earn that moment at that point in time of the movie. You're over here like, man, I don't really believe it, because this whole time you're thinking of this whole trilogy, like, man, they have not been establishing that he really was so won over, even though he was struggling with it.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't gonna see that.
There is good in him. Like that was
Like literally, Leia said Ben, and he said, "Oh shit, I'm light side."
Exactly. Like,
That was it.
I was like, mommy.
He's like, no, I can't do it.
I'm like, bro.
Abdomen and such. I was like, right.
It's like Garrett when you said like Ray was like, "Oh, I forgot the Force."
Yeah,
He was like, "Oh, I forgot. I'm light side." And
mommy.
he got killed.
Oh yeah. Oh, cheap shot and Ray. She needed that cheap shot. You've been beating him this whole time. Yeah, you've been beating him this whole time. You need help now.
Very un-Jedi like of her.
Right.
Take that damn.
And they kept teasing that. I was just like, yeah. I just a lot of
Let's talk about the marketing for that part, particular
lightsabers.
Yeah, she was talking about the switchblade. That terribly made.
Oh my gosh, the fucking
design lightsaber.
Looked like she was gonna be the
And it's like
this shit in. I was like, okay,
I
that's
need
situational.
Dude,
the ass scene on TV on pop up to the right, and when she does it, you see it. He goes and slices and dices. He does the whole thing. It's just there's a shift. There's a shift.
Turbo against
You're like, dude, she was over here flipping that joint up with the dual action grip. That's a toy. I'm pretty sure that's a toy.
You know what's funny? The Fallen what is it called? Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order just came up with a cool ass double lightsaber that can split apart in dual sabers and all that shit.
Oh,
like I'm surprised they didn't use that for the movie. I'm like, you wasted this on the game. Y'all should have pulled that into one of the movies.
Game design's always been better, man. So I don't know what. Yeah.
money on the horses.
Honestly, I don't see that Inquisitor lightsaber in the films at all. They like spin this shit like from fucking Rebels. I don't want that.
Nah, not that. I'm not talking about that shit.
I don't care.
I want like those properties to keep those individual like creative ideas. Like don't because certain things like hold with like because like in Rebels the lightsabers are thin. I'm like that was part of the issue with like episode 1. And I was like that's cute, but like we need like a little more power behind what's going on between these joints. And I'm just like it was a big issue with that. Just like representation. Just keep the separate shit out.
One thing I can say for sure about this new movie, Billy D was like, "Hey, just give me my check. Hey, it's all good." He did not. Out of all the 3, he's like, "No offense, like I'm just chilling." Like he did not have any kind of.
You know how much
functions
this product right here cost?
Huh? Okay, my
Star Wars money.
There we go.
Here's what's sad. Think about this. We had Harrison Ford and Billy D. Williams in the same Star Wars movie 30 years later, and they weren't on screen together at all.
Yeah,
we had 2 of the dopest characters from this, like the whole series.
Just the look he gives them.
Best for dialogue.
What you doing?
And y'all didn't even put them on screen together. You didn't even think about putting Billy D. Williams and Harrison Ford on screen together.
You're not gonna get an in-game level like fan service, bro. It's not gonna happen.
No, none of this. We got nothing. Aside from Luke looking at Leia for a little bit. Leia got to meet everybody, but it was like she's just chilling, sitting there being a general.
He pulls the X-Wing out the fucking. I was like, you should have done that in the last movie, guys.
That's literally why he did it, because people said he could have did that in The Last Jedi. So doing that. Like when he grabbed the lightsaber and he was like, "This isn't how you treat a Jedi weapon." It's like, oh, motherfucker, y'all just saying that because of The Last Jedi.
Mopping it up, cleaning it on up.
Obsessed with subverting expectations that he forgets how to actually just give people shit they're expecting, which is okay to do sometimes. It's okay to be like, hey, this is the good guy. And he's probably going to win because this is a story where good guys win. It's okay. He doesn't need to be like, well, he's not sure if he's going to, he's going to go fight this fight and then he's going to be a ghost and he think he's dead, but he's not dead. But then he's actually going to die because it's subversion. It's just like the roller coaster of that last fight with, in Last Jedi with Kylo and Luke. I was on the edge of my seat. I was so excited. I thought this was going to be amazing. And then when he disappears, I'm like, oh shit, it's Obi-Wan. He disappeared like Obi-Wan did. oh my god, and then I see him on a rock in the fucking, he never even left, and it's like, oh, no, he's fine. All right, cool. Well, I guess Luke's fine. Oh no, he's dead. No, he actually died. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff was because all the good stuff they threw up, they mulched up in this one movie, and now you have to have like the Play-Doh entrails in the last one to try and pick apart. Like I said in the beginning, Salvo, like, dude, this was just a bunch of shit from a bunch of different animals, and like the people, the fans came in chat.
Shit. You got to bring it back to the shit.
They put it on the shit, bro. I think because I don't think the live got all the whole shit sandwich, so I gotta feed it to him again.
Analogy of shit we have been running with this entire conversation. The whole last trilogy is just giant piles of shit on top of shit.
Prequel trilogy, yeah. I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, even though Force Awakens had great promise, like the shit started out like it started off nice. The shit started off nice. It's like yeah, and then oh no, it got really wrong. It was like that Dave Chappelle shit. You see when it was in slow motion, it just
went off. Like that was the lost season. That's what that was. Freezing blaster bolts, rebelling stormtroopers. I was like, all right, it's gonna be a nice little.
Yeah, that was kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
I got a question coming in. It was like, is there ever a scene where the entire original trilogy characters are together? Not the entire original trilogy characters are together, but there's certain moments and reunions and relationships that we did not get at all cultivated in this one. That is really what the whole thing is. Where you know, on screen together, yeah, you got to like, yeah, if you would rather see Han Solo and Lando Calrissian older, playing off each other still, you know, like because they're old friends.
Yeah.
Then him, he don't even just, you know, by this time he's like, Han's been dead for years, whatever. You want to enjoy Bonnaroo in space? Let's go.
All right.
You know, they didn't have any time to like care really about it. Versus actually coming back to each other, like, oh boy, you're a little old for smuggling, aren't you? Yeah, little something, little mythos and stuff like that. You've seen the disappointment of an old friend and all this other type of stuff. You know, that minutia of character and goodness that Star Wars is known for. Mm-hmm. You know, we ain't getting none of that. No, we got Han talking to the people from the raid over here, like, yeah, I'm gonna get you your money, man. Yeah, you know. Then you got the
waste of that gas.
The alien dude, the alien tentacle monster. But okay, one diversion, real quick, one real thing. Why did they keep making tentacle monsters in this new?
I don't know, man. They keep doing that.
In Force Awakens, they did it in motherfucking
Rogue One.
Rogue One. And
Yeah.
bullets. Like
you know why? Yeah, you know why?
What?
Asian markets.
You're right.
Yep.
Asian markets.
Hey, man.
That's why I keep you around, Zach.
Hey, somebody look at the sales in Japan real quick.
It's on the screen just so people get ideas, you know, just so they can ship it, you know. In the Asian markets, man. Gotta make sure.
You mean Leia, Han, Luke, and Chewie? Yeah, the original Star Wars. Yeah.
Nah, Han died, so it couldn't happen.
No. My brother was like, he asked me, like, you mean the original, all the original trilogies, were they all together in the original? Like, no, they were all together in the original Star Wars movie, and there's a part in Empire when they're all together in the first Hoth base. Yeah, they were all together then.
Yeah, they're all together at the end of the movie.
Yeah, the Yub Equok. Yeah,
doesn't get one. No, I mean they're all together like regularly in the first trilogy, and then the only people you see together are Chewie, Han, and Leia. They're the only three in the newer trilogy. Those are the only ones of the old crew that you see together.
Yeah.
You could argue, yeah, because Billy D. Williams and Leia never even meet up. You never see them on screen.
Yeah, nah.
So they're all separate. Like they keep. The more I think about it, the more pissed off I am. They keep the whole crew separate the whole freaking time, and then they keep trying to connect them to the newer guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like the fact that Leia hugs Rey before Chewie after Han dies is still something that I'm like, who the fuck are you? Because you is pilot his ship. You have not done anything. Chewie has been there from day one.
Yeah.
mean, God,
because that would have like, because that's that was one of the best parts of this new movie, Rise of Skywalker.
When Leia died,
yeah, and Chewie's reaction. That's the only
Yeah.
I
he has
felt
more
something.
reaction to Leia than he does to Han, though. Like, dude, I wanted to see Chewie lift people up, rip
the
them
arms off.
throw them into people, like when Han died.
Yeah.
Chewie should have been on. Like, they want to talk about how crazy what's his race, the Wookiees are. They want to talk about how crazy strong and how crazy, and then like all he does is cry when people die. I want to see him rage out.
But Chewie's the dog now. Like he was always seen as like a high, overgoing fuzzball. He was a character.
Taxi driver.
Yeah.
And like all the movies, that's all he's done is just like outside of maybe Rise of the Skywalker, he actually kind of has some plot around him. But otherwise, he's just a taxi driver. I mean, maybe that's I don't know.
He escorted Yoda in episode 3.
In the first trilogies, even though he was just supposed to be the big muscle guy who made a funny noise, like he got used more in those beginning ones, and then this one he doesn't get any real development outside of watching his friends die.
He had a plot.
And that really should be like the craziest thing that they did not like. Here's the thing about it. Y'all want to fill this whole Disney trilogy of member berries, right? Y'all remember that little member like little Snoke's kind of like the Emperor, right? Put him in there, and then they went all full Emperor, big old member berry. And it's like y'all had such an easy job to get squeezed little member berry juices here and there just by putting them on screen together. And you would have got so much more out of that if you just wrote it towards some of this here and there. Some of these moments like we're talking about, since you had these actors at your disposal. Like, dude, all you gotta do is rewatch some of the old ones and be like, okay, yeah, we gotta have that. We gotta have Han and Billy D play off each other. We gotta have Luke and Han have a little thing, like a little back and forth real quick, and how that would have changed. You can work in little things, and we would be talking about way better things right now. We would be so much happier at dang near 10 o'clock at night, rather than what we are right now.
I don't know if there's a way they could have done that because
bro, I believe it. I believe in good writing out here because it still possibly could have happened.
Yeah, but you gotta think. You got a new trilogy. You got new characters. You need to establish audience connection to these new characters. So if they spend the whole time trying to tickle your nostalgia,
not the whole time. I'm like, you can still write a compelling story. Just make sure you have your moments there and there.
The old characters. Like if they wanted to get rid of the nostalgia, they should have set this the whole time period so far in the future that the old characters are dead. Let them be dead, and that's cool. Then we get stuff. But the thing is, they're like, no, it's only been 30 years, and guess who's coming back? Everybody. And
the whole point. We don't get that first trailer. We're home. Chewie. We're home. Like it really was a whole thing to say. You were supposed to feel that in your chest to be like, no, we're back home with Star Wars. And with some of those things, I'm not saying you can't have a daring, awesome new trilogy. And that's something about I think Jack is thinking like, oh man, I think Last Jedi is whack. And I said, no, I do believe it was daring in a lot of different ways. I feel like it had a lot of mistakes that could have like that went into ramification. I feel that movie didn't have the balls to go all the way. Because like I said, the Great Jedi movie was not fully where it needed to be at the end of it, where we were hinting towards it. She's seeing herself. There's so much gray all in the movie. On top of that, whatever. They just didn't go all the way through with it because I feel maybe that's where Disney came in. It was like, well, we still got to kind of make it a full-on adventure. You can't leave it up to chance where she can possibly leave. Because that movie even should have ended with her holding her hand out to like.
Yes, they should have ended. Right in there.
That would have been another callback to The Force Awakens and that whole cliffhanger thing. And we'd have been like, and we'd have been sitting there like with the real, well, what will she choose?
What's she gonna do?
Yeah. But they did a whole extra thing.
Jump off for the third movie too. It would have been a more interesting place to start from than we got with Rise of Skywalker. So I agree with you there.
Yep, and that's what all plays into it. Where man, we would imagine all that. As well as getting different awesome moments with these characters and that we've known and loved since we were little kids, man. That are that we've been like, Lando Calrissian, the only black guy in space. Now he'll be hanging out at the bar and it's like there's a few more of me out here. Like it was just certain little stupid joints. Like you'd be like, what the heck? This is awesome.
If Lando and walked in a room full of aliens together, they do that like look across the thing and just nod to each other. Do that
Yeah.
whole
That would be hilarious.
right. They're like, yeah, we're the only ones in the room. I know. Yeah. Even in space.
Disney wouldn't. They wouldn't have.
Keegan and I were having a joke about like, what would it like to actually be like a racist in the Star Wars universe? To like actually be like,
you be Empire.
Well, they tried to do with the droid.
Like, no, it's like
Empire.
You're supposed to be upset when somebody looks a different color when your best friend is like a 12-foot dog. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that. You got friends with tentacles, with like all this kind of stuff, but you're like, nah.
I think it's really particular. In Star Wars. You gotta really like not like the. I don't like the orange quills on the side of that guy's thing. You know what?
Right?
What race is that? Like you'll sit there.
My friend doesn't like you.
Like different
I don't like you either.
in Star Wars, where it's like the green Twi'leks really don't like the blue Twi'leks, man. Nah, they're like,
Go out of here.
I want the
You gonna get that? You gonna give droid a drink? Like
right? You
Yo.
treat people? What?
All right, look. Did y'all like Solo? Because I love Solo. I love Solo. That fucking droid.
I saw pieces of it, and I was like, I'm not watching all of this. I'm out.
All right. Here's the thing about it.
Houston, I heard was just
Solo.
I was worried about Rise.
Solo was too straight, like in terms of like, okay, this has no Jedi. This is a Star Wars. Like this is what the world is like outside. This is where Han Solo grew up. I don't have any problem with the dude who played and portrayed Han Solo. I feel like he had one of the hardest jobs in the world to portray one of the iconic huge dude. But he's such a strident, like he's a rogue, but you only have so much of Han Solo to go off of, and to be a younger version of it, so he's not fully formed into that part. You have to kind of like dig deep to like be able to like portray it. So he did a good enough job.
Yeah.
I feel Donald Glover did a really good cosplay. He did a really good cosplay of Billy D.
It was fun with it. Party. It was a really good Halloween party he was at. Yeah.
I had a good time, but ultimately I feel like the movie was like it wasn't one of those things where I needed to be like, oh man,
the first half, that first like heist kind of scene and set up like that, I think it would have been great.
Yeah, I also like the way the cinematography looked. It was muddy.
The way they had that whole thing set up is just the fact they like introduced all these dope characters and they're like, oh, we're gonna kill them all though. Yeah, all of those guys are gonna die. Like
they definitely did.
Yeah. And the set piece and all the effort they put into it. And then they're like, forget all of those guys we just introduced you to. Here are the guys who are really going to matter, except kind of not for like, because it's really just about Han and what's her name? Khaleesi. Like, that's really all it's about for that first little bit. Like, I mean, like, which is cool. I like that, but like, I don't get why. It was the same problem I had with Rogue One. There didn't need to be a romance in Rogue One. They didn't. There didn't need to be a romance in Rogue One at all. And I felt like that whole dying in each other's arms thing at the end of Rogue One is the one bit to me that I'm like, come on, man. This is about like gritty, dirty, like what it takes to actually make war happen. And people don't get to die in each other's arms in war all that often. And I feel like it kind of limited that character of being like more of a, independent character than being, like she gets all these friends, finally gets a group, and then they die one by one. But, at least she gets to hang out with her boyfriend as they get exploded. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and they weren't officially together, but I do know what you mean by that inferred togetherness of like, oh yeah, they would have been together had they not have died in a fiery nuke death.
Yes, I didn't take that scene that way. I took it more of like they're staring in the face of impending doom, and there's another human here, and please hold me before we become disintegrated.
I'm just saying, for writing thing, I think homie should have died protecting her. For her to get on, because that's what everybody else's role is that everybody else dies to help her get to where she needs to be, and yet there's no reason for him to really live outside of just for her to have somebody to hug. And that to me is kind of like, come on, like there's not even that. Their whole paramour, like that whole romance isn't even a major part of their dialogue or their thing. Like they might have chemistry, and it's kind of cool to have that thought, but like to make that the final moment for those.
I don't think it's like
they weren't
like you're seeing it as a romance, but there's nothing that suggests it's a romance except for the fact that it's a guy and a girl. If it was like two chicks there and they just held each other before they got disintegrated, you wouldn't think anything of it. I don't think it was like a romance thing. I seriously think it was just we're definitely gonna die. We're definitely gonna die.
Hold me. Oh,
I don't know. I feel like
now that we're on it, if we're gonna talk about it, if we're gonna talk about this scene. If we're gonna talk about the scene, once I'm gonna point out there's one little part when he's holding her. Why the heck does he like? He opens his eyes like, "Oh, this is about to hurt." Oh,
you want to get that? You know what I'm saying? Man, no lube, okay? I'm gonna go out facing my dude. I was like, homie, when he was from New York, I was like, shit.
You know what I hate about Rogue One besides the Boar Gullet? I hate Saw Gerrera saying like, "Nah, you guys go. I'm done running." Like, bitch, if you don't get on that plane, what the
that's the old trope that we're all mad at right now. Go ahead,
fucking plane.
Leave me.
For what? We got space. Like, just get on.
Pick him up.
Stupid.
Die in the ocean, man. It's because it made better television. There's plenty of room on the door.
Rogue One is all just a sequence of things that look or sound cool.
Yeah.
That's like people say that's the best Star Wars movie ever made.
Nah.
Like you only say that because Darth Vader was at the end and you left the theater like, oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And now you think
I will say the space battle was the shit though.
Yeah, it was. That was a great space battle.
It was one of the best space battles we've gotten since the old days. And I'm like, no, if I just watch that, if you just watch that, if you watch the Darth Vader part and like certain stylistic chart like parts of it, because it looked like certain parts of the way they designed it, I'm like, I can see Ralph McQuarrie's old art like kind of like influence and here or there. So aside from that, though, it's hollow bones, man. It's hollow. It's all types of fan service.
It seems like it should have been like a small little like anthology thing.
Yeah,
and they tried to build a story around it so that they can make it into a full movie.
You had Darth Vader doing dad jokes and shit. I'm like,
show on your ambition.
Can we not have that?
That's the end and not have I'd have ranted. I'd have blown a hole through the street.
Why would we have it? Why would you want to watch that? Like, you got James Earl Jones back, but that's what you have him do yet again. I'm like, bruh, like we in
showing unveiling. So out the tank, I was like, okay, we get to see like Vader, like as he is, like post, and then he pulls that. I was like, nice glove, bro. Because I was like, that.
Did y'all not laugh at that though?
I didn't.
No.
Oh, come on, man. I laughed at how bad it was.
On this
I laughed at how bad it was. I was like, no, they did not.
I have to rethink. What's the saying, Josh? I got to rethink this over here. Like, we grant you a member of this. We don't grant you the rank of master, though. We can't
sit on the couch
like with the Darth Vader pun joke on me.
No, like dad jokes are supposed to not be funny. They're funny because they're not funny. It was funny because it was not funny.
Okay, dog, I get you. Darth Vader should not be the dude that's doing
it.
Man, have make Tarkin do some shit. Like I don't know, like you already have him as a video game character in here.
But that last like 5 minutes of that movie, I probably rewatched that shit about like 30 times. Yeah. That shit was dope. Vader going down that hallway just womp.
Every bit of fan service in there is way better than fan service they tried to chop in the Rise of Skywalker. Like that's my thing about it too. I'm like, even when I'm looking at like cheap, stupid Rise of Skywalker, like fan base stuff, I'm over here like, okay, well, if I'm gonna get Rogue One, I'm gonna just watch for Rogue One for this type of stupid baseless fan base and get more out of it. Get out of this fan service. Get Darth Vader. Get Red 5, the old Red 5 coming down and stuff like that. I know what you wanted. Forget like this going through it. Like it was one of those things where You're never gonna see that again. I think they blew their load in terms of that. Yeah, in terms of fan servicey stuff in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Man,
Man,
it is coming up on 10 o'clock here, so I think
I'm about to say, I'm about to start like winding it down. We've been talking for 2 hours. I don't know if there's anything that's on top of your mind that anybody wants to like get off. I know.
No more trilogies.
Hmm?
No more trilogies, at least for a while.
yeah.
That's how you feeling? No more trilogies for a while.
At least for a while. At least. I would say no more, period.
We need more shows in the universe like Mandalorian.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian showed like this is what fans want.
That's
this is
what
you're getting positive feedback for. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Or that.
That I mean, that is the Mandalorian right now is literally the new hope for me right now. It's really like the only thing that I look at and like, you know what? There might be hope for Star Wars yet because I'm watching it and I'm seeing, yeah, okay, there's a little bit of fan service and we're having Baby Yoda, little child in there. And at first I wanted to like, be steel and hard to be man with it. Like, I'm not gonna watch this thing with little Baby Yoda over here, and I'm over here like, I'm just gonna be Mr. Mando, and I'm over here like, okay, he's winning me over.
People who act like they hate Baby Yoda, it's like those are the kind of people who like murder cats in their backyard, dude.
Exactly. I was like, I can't.
Baby Yoda, dude. If you don't
the
love
cutest
Baby
thing in
Yoda,
the world, and so like
your dark side, your Sith. If you don't love Baby Yoda, so
you see when Baby Yoda choked out the shock trooper, I was like, yo, Baby Yoda.
I'm just saying,
they know what they're doing.
right?
So, but the thing about it, the beautiful part about the show is that you get to drip feed certain things inside of it. Like we were watching, I'm like, oh man, you get to see it's after Return of the Jedi. It's beyond the whole thing. Like the stormtroopers, they're all dirtied up, and this and then the third. Like they can't take care of their armor. Like the little things here and there. And you're like, as a Star Wars fan, you can't really like, oh man,
the dark saber in the last episode.
Don't even. How you gonna jump to the last episode? You just wait. Sorry, in the last when we jumped on.
Come on, Josh.
So we had heist. We had heist episodes. We had little bits where they're like feeding in Tatooine. When they first went into that little port, when the little guys, little pit stop guys came out with a little camera on their head. I was like, oh, they're on Tatooine. Like there's certain little bits where you're like, oh man, like they did it well. They plotted it out well.
That's what happens when somebody who loves Star Wars makes something Star Wars.
They ended it with freaking with concept art. Come on.
That concept art was sick.
That's like they love it.
Concept art, yeah.
Oh my God, Jon Favreau is a beast, and that man did Iron Man. So
anything he touches turns to gold, man.
If Favreau took on a new trilogy, would you guys be excited for it?
No.
It's too soon. It's too soon right now. It'll be too reactionary.
I hear that word, dog. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they don't need to do movies right now because first off, movies in general are kind of like big tentpole films. It's only unless it's Marvel or something like that. Certain properties aren't seem to be popping like that because they don't seem to know how to ride this line because everything's a product, everything's in a big event. So they try to do that same event formula, like you said, with Marvel, with Star Wars, and all these other type of stuff. It doesn't work because Star Wars doesn't work that way. You need to have a semblance of a story, a whole vision, like we said earlier, this whole 2 hours. So like definitely put in that very same, it's not Ghostbusters. It's not something that you can just be like, oh, let me, flip it and remix it and stuff like that. You got tons of huge movies in 40 years. Nah, man, you don't play around with that.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a Mandalorian style series following a dark side user in the Old Republic, because we get the ideology of the Sith and things like that. We get like the introduction of the Old Republic. We don't have to worry about anything set by the movies. We don't have to, bring back characters or anything like that.
You heard about the new shows being set 400 years behind. So like, it's not gonna be probably like focused, but you're gonna see some Sith stuff.
Yeah, but I specifically want to follow a dark side user because the Mandalorian kind of gives me that feel because Mandalorians are somewhat neutral. They're not really light or dark. Yeah. And I kind of like the feeling of somebody who's not supposed to fit into one of the archetypes.
Because there's Revan, but like Revan goes from light to dark, and then back. So it's like, I feel you. That's the Force.
That's actually something they can explore.
Content can they really? How much content do you want to see that doesn't involve the
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Well, first of all, everything
Like
involves the
Solo,
Force.
so.
I mean, that's kind of the theme of Disney Star Wars is everything
Pushed
involves
that. They pushed it in the Rogue One, but like, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's right though, because I mean, like taking the Force out of Star Wars does limit a lot of your storytelling. I mean, in the sense that like it's one of the coolest aspects of Star Wars. So if you take the focus off the Force, you have to have something really cool to replace it with.
You can Scorsese the joint and give us some real gritty shit to look at, but it's just like, yeah, don't back on it with the Force or like some make it real, make it relatable.
Yeah.
They'll always have to pull the Force in somehow, even if like in the Mandalorian nobody knows what it is.
Yeah,
like they'll have to pull it in somehow.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's all about that. I mean, it's what binds us and all this stuff. Like you really need to have that as a story element because these are fantasy movies, space adventure fantasy. So it's gonna kind of come up. Yeah, we get to play around it, and I want to see this world fleshed out a bit better.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna be like the main thing, and that Disney has to do for me. Where I'm like, dude, guys, y'all have it here. You have all this dough. You have all these cameras. Come on, y'all got all this real props that you have just lying around now. Like, you just sit here and make all these different types of Star Wars stories that you are sitting here just twiddling your thumbs about. But I got faith now that I've seen the first season of Mandalorian.
You know, Chauncey, you brought up Revan. You know, Revan is canon now twice. So he's canon because of Rise of Skywalker, and he's canon because of the last episode of Mandalorian. I don't know if you watched it because you looked at me crazy when I started talking about it. I'm not gonna mention it, but they did reference
all of Rebels is canon. All of Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars is all canon because the same guy who's doing Mandalorian, one of the main directors for Mandalorian is the guy who was directing Rebels. So that's why he brought the Darksaber over and had all that stuff. So not only is Revan canon, but they actually went back in that visual book I was talking about. All the names of the fleets in Rise of Skywalker are named after old school legends Sith Lords. So even though their stories aren't necessarily canon, their existence in the world is canon. So there's like, not just Plagueis, but
Bane, Darth Bane.
The Sith God guy is I forget his name.
Endu or something like that.
Scion, like, yeah, it's just like I know the EU is like, and like the games are a different territory. Like the EU is gone, like it's not in canon. But like, what from that can you sort of like reincorporate, sort of like reappropriate, kind of make something? Because if you're gonna do an Old Republic joint, are you gonna pull from source material, or is this gonna be like wholeheartedly original?
I mean, here's the thing about it. They and I can't sit here and let rest on these laurels anymore now that I've seen this freaking sequel trilogy. I used to be like, oh man, Disney's full of a whole bunch of Star Wars fans in general. Like you got a whole bunch of creators in there who grew up on the stuff and love this stuff, so they jump at the chance for this type of stuff. So like, maybe I'm just like feeling that they try to do a new story and maybe do a little agenda, and maybe this didn't work out. Man, if we can go and talk about lore and history, maybe they could feel a bit better along those lines to go and play around with that rather than them trying to make this new strident, new amazing thing that did not work out. Safe to say. Like, seriously. And I wanted to say, if anybody like has to drop off, got work, this and that and the third, if we're just running anything like that, it's no problem, bro. You can just always bounce out of here. Just say your goodbyes. What up? We love you.
It was great talking with you. I gotta go get some food.
All right, man.
Awesome talking with everybody. Hopefully we get to do this again real soon.
Of course, bro. So, same channel, bro.
Yeah. See you guys.
Peace, man. But literally, that's what it's about. Where they did not go all the way with it. They did not. They didn't. They didn't think this through, man. Like, how else can you say it?
At the beginning, it seemed like they were trying to follow the whole like Anakin Solo and all their kids and how you had Darth Caedus and all that.
Like a Jason Solo thing, like a. That's why I was saying like Kylo Ren was kind of Jason Solo reborn. Kind of thing. And they're like, oh, okay, y'all gonna do a whole like dark side within the family and this and that again. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And like Adam Driver's performance for him is actually really, really good.
He's
like
the best character.
Yeah, he's doing the most he can with all the stuff that they're not doing, and it's like he's over here like actually giving us something. So Yeah, just the intensity. You know, when he's hitting that wound in the beginning of Force Awakens, at the end of Force Awakens, fighting him and stuff like that. I was like, ooh, that's dark side stuff I want to see right there. You're like, you want to see him swung with the darts of Revan by the second movie, but you don't get that. No, we don't get none of that because they're playing. Because they playing.
They should have. What Disney needs to learn is that you need to have one vision whenever you're trying to create a project like this. I think that that's the biggest takeaway, because even if they gave it to like J.J. Abrams, for example, it would have been consistent. I think like you said, each of these movies was a reaction to the previous movie, and if it was just one person, they wouldn't have had to, you know, make the movies in that way. They would have had one vision. They would have had a fully fleshed out story that they knew where they were going the entire time, and they weren't trying to like handshake each movie off to the next director.
That's a given you have a plan.
And if you're gonna talk about, I'm sorry to like just going, but if you're gonna talk about handshake and handing off, it's much like a baton, right? And what's one of the main parts about if you're running a race in the baton, like that handoff has to be clean. That handoff is one of the most important parts of the race. Damn them running really well and how good it looks, and how good they're running. It looks good when they run it, but if they don't hand that baton off, it does not count. So like each part, I think that's really what happened right here, where we're seeing like them have amazing strides. Man, Force Awakens looks so good. She's like, look at that thing go, you know, and you're like, okay, now hand it on off, and you thought it looked good, and then it's just like this dude Ryan just like,
I mean,
smash the helmets on the wall.
Hitting my elbows, man. Stop, baby.
You got to remember when Force Awakens came out, because everybody likes to rag on The Last Jedi, but when Force Awakens came out, the main criticism was it was A New Hope all over again. So now the reaction to Force Awakens wasn't as strong as The Last Jedi. That's the strongest Star Wars movie.
Exactly.
Hands down was The Last Jedi. But he did what he did in reaction to the main criticism of Force Awakens. So he was like, okay, I'm not just going to remake Empire.
He wasn't equipped to do it, Josh. That's the whole thing I'm saying. He wasn't fully equipped to do it. He is not big enough to do it. As much as I like his work, he did TV, Looper, and Brick before. These are very small movies, Looper and Brick. Star Wars, a full-on chapter of Star Wars that's going to be the big old defining level of a not only just a part of the trilogy, the main part where stuff is supposed to go down and shape the whole your whole mind about it, because that's what Empire did, and even Attack of the Clones shook up a lot of stuff in it. It's one of those things where no, he wasn't equipped to do so. They should have given him a TV show or something to do, an episode of 3 or 4 or over here. It should have. Or had him join on and jump in for like certain ideas, but not have him do the whole thing.
Right.
Rian Johnson would have been great at doing an Obi-Wan TV series. I think he would have been great, because all that, the Obi-Wan series, when it does come out, is all going to be character deconstructionist. What does it mean? What does all this mean? Because how much action can you have in an Obi-Wan series?
Well,
it's Kenobi.
But he's also supposed to be like low key.
Well, here's the thing about it. I think Maul's going to come back.
Well, we already seen Maul come back.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to bring in Maul on this.
The same way they did in Rebels.
Well, they're gonna do something with this, because like now they got Ewan McGregor back. You know, one of the best parts of the prequels.
They got Ray Park back too.
There you go.
Who knows what they
I mean, who knows? We all know it's gonna be if you got Ray Park, that's Darth Maul. He ain't gonna be the frog from X-Men, so it's gonna be Darth Maul. Like that's my thing about it, where I'm annoyed where I have to like take my little caveats of like, oh man, at least the game is good, or at least Mandalorian is good. Yeah, I gotta eat. Yeah, I gotta get a little piece over here. The main course is some bull, because this ain't for me, is what they telling me. This is for me. But I'm gonna eat around over here on some Mandalorian bits, you know.
Following orders, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, George Lucas been falling on that Star Wars is for kids excuse since the originals, and especially at the prequels.
Oh yeah,
George Lucas saying Star Wars is for kids. I don't care about the criticism
for the children.
If you watch Star Wars originally, you're like, man, this ain't for kids, man. They're over here.
Planet first quarter, I'm like, dang.
Exactly. 20 minutes, like 10 minutes in, are you lying? Man, I ain't lying to you. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, what? It's almost millions of lives just look out and then didn't because they dead as hell.
The prequels was all politics and history. I'm like, yo, what child wants to watch a Senate meeting? Like, no child wants to watch this.
For kids. Oh, yeah. That's how they all fucking die. Like,
all right. Episode 3. This boy here just
Master Skywalker.
youngling.
I'm like, whoa.
You can't do it. Porkins, pull up.
Everybody blowing up in their stuff.
Kids?
The younglings, man. It's for the younglings.
Got slaughtered in episode.
Got slaughtered.
Bro,
Like, hey kids, watch this.
He had the Jedi Master in one hand, like the battle tactician in one hand, fighting it. I was like, what the? No,
Youngling.
not for kids, B.
No, it's not for kids.
You throws a lightsaber through somebody's chest. No.
Yep. Yeah, he jumps on top of it. Yoda throws a lightsaber into the man's chest. He jumps on top. He's like, "Yeah, you bitch you are." And like,
our hugs, Josh.
You mean that it's for kids? Samuel Jackson decapitated Jango Fett, and a little kid who's a son, who's a special clone for him, picked up his dad's head and like puts it to it, but this is for kids, okay?
Yo, when Mace Windu chopped off that nigga head,
I'm telling you,
he turned back and looked the word motherfucker at him. He said,
exactly, because he didn't even like look at it, and he just like, hit him with the purple lightsaber and all. It was greatness.
I really wish that Snoke was Mace Windu. I was hoping that Snoke was Mace Windu. I don't know how they was gonna make that work, but I was hoping.
I mean, honestly, we're still overdue for a Mace Windu. They said something that Mace could still be alive out there, which I'm over here like, please, he's supposed to be the strongest general, and he went out like a punk too in the prequels. Like that's one of the worst. He just kind of as well. Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit in Revenge of the Sith. I was watching it like, although I do enjoy this movie, they just gotta accept, like, yeah. You're just gonna sit here and stop and explain to Anakin Skywalker, a boy you ain't been respecting, that you did not let be a rank of the master on the council. I would have chopped this man up already. I would have chopped him out. Like, look, like, I don't care. Or like, if you need him for something, like your perspective of the Jedi are evil, bro. Like,
from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Like, well, you're fucking stupid.
Your lightsaber don't say bad motherfucker on it, bro. Like, come on. Like, you don't know what this is. So, like, basically, even those moments that we got in those prequels, we don't have any of those really good moments in this sequel. Because even if we do have those moments, Josh, they don't connect to anything. Even all the stuff you like in Last Jedi don't amount to anything now. Because in this
now,
exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like, now we don't even got nothing. Like, even the stuff I liked and I was hoping that we were going to keep on going with. No, man. Rise Skywalker put the kibosh on all that, too. So it's like, well, we don't get nothing.
J.J. Abrams, when he started writing that script, he said, okay, give me the Last Jedi script, and I'm just going to start line, yep. redacted. All of this shit didn't happen.
Erase. It was like that part of Goofy movie when Max just erasing parts of the map. He like, nah, this ain't going to go this way at all. We're going to go see Powerline tonight. You're like,
yeah. So it was like, let me just clean this little boo boo up real quick, and it was not well done, dude. Execution was poor.
It was a bunch of ideas
with Skywalker's name in it.
Yeah, it was a collection of ideas strung together very loosely with dialogue and without like a cohesive story. It was just like, hey, what if Palpatine came back? Yes. They're like, okay, and what if Rey does a backflip and cut a TIE fighter that's flying along the ground?
I was actually going to bring that part up.
There was somebody in the room like, why is a TIE fighter flying along the ground? It can shoot from the sky. It's called strafing. That's what you do in a vehicle.
He's testing her, and like he's still testing her. It's the third movie. He doesn't have any type of thing. She's gonna jump over it and she's gonna cut it and it's gonna go flying, careening across the way. He's dead, right? No, he's fine.
obviously Palpatine has taught us that even though you're inside of a spaceship or space station that explodes, you ain't gotta die. I mean,
now,
it's Star Wars, baby.
That's one of my biggest things. Not only did it explode, no, it exploded before. It exploded before it exploded.
Yeah.
He threw him into the reactor, and there's all this blue explosion stuff where he
got blown up.
And then it blew up.
And it blew up. And y'all know how, and the Return of Jedi is oh my, how definitive that explosion is. There ain't nothing left.
Nothing.
You be seeing it's like it's particles. And you be like,
except
revive that.
Except not only did they revive him, the Death Star apparently landed on a planet.
Bro, I fell asleep during that part when she was exploring the Death Star. I was like, wait, so we saw that shit blow up in 4 and 6. And like, okay, so debris, I got you. Like substantial debris.
Like the full curvature of the beam laser debris. I was like,
room is still intact. The chair is still there.
The chair is I'm about to say the toughest chair in the world. I was like, yo, I want this Palpatine chair, this Emperor chair, baby. This is like,
he was the Emperor. He had the resources. He said, I want the baddest chair in the galaxy. This chair needs to withstand the explosion of 1,000 suns.
There ain't nothing. I need this new chair. This new gangster chair.
Whole chair made out of Beskar steel.
Right back, exactly. This Beskar. It was all this Beskar. Like the finest for my ass cheeks. Like, come on, bro. I was not rocking with it. Like, there's a lot of like inexplicable things in that film where you just sitting there like, if I think about this for half a second, it's gonna come all the way through. Like, oh my gosh, man, it's just one of the things that's hard to even think of because it was flitting from moment to moment. You're like, man, I gotta like focus in on the bull. Like,
you can't even keep up with the damn movie. My coworkers, because I, you know, like I said, I left the Christmas party to go watch the movie. When I came to work the next day, everybody asked me what the movie was. I said, do you like watching the newer Transformers movies? Because if you like watching those, you'll enjoy this movie. But if you like thinking when you're watching the movie, you probably don't like Transformers movies, and you're probably not gonna like this movie.
That's literally what, like, because I was telling him about my dad about it. I was like, yeah, they like watch this. Like, yeah, I watch, Skywalker, Last Skywalker. I thought I liked it. I'm like, Dad, you routinely tell me that you go to the movies and like just turn your brain off. So I'm like, I know why you like the movie because like, oh yeah, it's cool, but just for that to be like, C-3PO, don't die. Oh, let's talk about the fake out deaths real quick. How
Chewie, C-3PO,
Ray,
Kylo.
Now Kylo died for real. I was like, come on, so Palpatine faked out the death because he's over here. Oh, I didn't die in the Death Star. Like,
still alive, mother.
I know. Palpatine, he faked his death out for 2 whole movies after Return of the Jedi.
Baby. I was like, what? Skeevy Sheev, baby. Skeevy Sheev, Palpatine, back at it with the black fingers. Like, come over here.
What can't kill the Senate?
All right. It's black feet.
Like, how? Y'all gonna write me? Y'all got to probably river on that one. He just been here the whole time. I've
been in the bed. I'm like, you could have been. Everyone could have been asleep, and you could have sent all these Star Destroyers out. Not broadcast yourself across the galaxy.
It was ugly.
Nigga, like your plan don't make no sense, Palpatine. You tell everybody you hear, you're like, oh, but I'm on a secret planet though because y'all not really supposed to know I'm back.
He's in a weakened state and he's the power of Rey and Luke. And that's the thing about it. This whole, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is my last bit of it for real for the sequel trilogy. Is like this has been the most politicized bullcrap trilogy that I've seen. Like blatant. Now I know the prequels had a lot of the Bush era year politics and stuff like that thrown in there, but it was still ultimately a Star Wars type of affair. Here we got all this type of like, you got the you would have arguably the feminist movement with the Rey thing / Holdo because she literally got purple hair, bro.
You're not talking about. Oh god!
Yeah, I was like, she's literally got purple hair. I mean, I'm sorry, you've been hyping up Last Jedi this whole time. We're gonna talk about. one of the worst parts about because Poe was sitting there mansplaining. That's why I call it so 2017. Like Last Jedi is such a 2017 Star Wars movie, and I got it for that type of thing because he's over here mansplaining essentially to Holdo. Where he's over here like, I knew what this part is what it's about out here in battle. She's like, I smelled hot shots like you this whole time. You better sit on down, Mr. Man.
With your
I got chromosomes. I got a plan. What's your plan? Even though like later I'm like, you couldn't have you could not have possibly planned. I gotta like go to light speed and hyper speed these guys right quick, which wouldn't work in the science that they've actually established in Star Wars. Yet again, that's why I say Rian Johnson doesn't know every like there's certain logic in Star Wars. I'm like, if you were paying attention while watching Star Wars or without knowing like that little extra bit that the director has to be paying attention, then as well as a viewer, he would have to know that going at hyperspeed and hyperspeeding through stuff will not be able to work. The science of that, they would be hyperspeeding into each other all the time. They would be doing that all the time if the science. No, they go through people. They go through each other. So you couldn't be able to it wouldn't break those ships. She would just escape and be a coward and be a traitor to the rebellion, to the resistance. Actually,
go on, just buy out.
She's exactly like, they got sale on purple hair color. Bye. And
the sound after she did that shit is probably my top 3 favorite sounds of Star Wars.
It's beautiful. Yeah, again, that's Star Wars: The Last Jedi is the most beautiful Star Wars movie. A very pretty movie, but there's a whole heap of problems with it. Like I could sit there and be like, I could just be like, dog, nah, dog. But then Rise of Skywalker, I will say, looks like bullshit. Like the first two, like Force Awakens and Last Jedi, look way better than this Rise of Skywalker crap. Like it doesn't. Just the overall look of it.
In the whole Palpatine part, you can barely tell what the hell is even going on.
It's dark.
A lot of reshoots. They had to try to make it as simple as possible and like try to be as recreational as possible. Like, all right, we can recreate the shot real quick and hurry it up. Because there was a lot of unfinished CGI. There was a whole lot of just things that they just trying to throw in there because now they gotta, make this Frankenstein.
Dark ass cave.
Just make it really dark so they don't see nothing, man.
What is this, Harry Potter? I was like, yeah, bro. It just didn't feel like
mentors. They had the mentors in the stands, homie.
That's what I was just about to mention.
Followers, they just came in.
They're Sith. They're dark side force users. That fool had a whole army of dark side force users just chilling in the bleachers.
Yep.
He had his whole squad benched.
Yep. While he was getting shot in the face.
He had the whole final order, or whatever you want to call them, was in ships underground, just chilling. I don't know where they was getting food from, but they were just chilling underground in Star Destroyers. Like he could have took over the galaxy. Like they could barely defend themselves from the First Order. The First Order knocked out the entire Hosnian system, knocked out the whole New Republic.
You saw that shit, right?
What the
laser?
Yeah, that shit pissed me off. To be honest, we didn't even get to see the New Republic. Like they fucking built this whole New Republic, and we didn't even get to see them.
Nope, blew it up. Y'all did.
But I'm like, what was Palpatine waiting for? What was he waiting for?
What is he villain waiting for? Who's sitting there plotting that? What was Eisen waiting for?
They were waiting to get a clue. Like they did not plan it. That's the whole thing about it. That's the answer to all of this. Is like they wouldn't. He wouldn't have done that. He would have killed everybody. He would have. Yeah, but it's the writing. It's the plot that tells them to do that. It's J.J. Abrams that did it. He's the ultimate pulling on the strings. He's the voice you've been hearing this whole time. Okay.
I like how they did it. They had him do Snoke's voice, then they had him do Vader's voice and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Y'all gonna try to explain this in 2 lines? That's what you're gonna try to do? All right, okay.
Yep, they try to do it. They try to explain away all this because they think that you're going to be able to just like shovel it and accept it because you've accepted wilder things before. They don't realize just how long those legs were before, how long the plotting and the character, and you were able to go to the logical next step. Now,
this movie has made almost $1 billion off of $275 million budget. That's why they keep doing this bullshit.
I mean, yeah, it's Star Wars, bro. People are gonna be, and like now it's crowd pleasing enough that people are gonna be like, okay, that's more like it, I guess, and like
People are saying this is the best Star Wars movie. Like you said, your brother liked it, but some people are saying, "Oh, this is the best Star Wars movie they've ever made." Like,
That's because they're so butthurt by
My brother hasn't watched it. My brother hasn't seen it. My dad liked it. My dad liked
your dad.
it. And he's no film critic. He's no Roger Ebert. So like, let's just sorry to put it out there like that, man. But it's true.
Easily, episode 3 is probably better. Is better than Rise, bro.
Episode 3 is my favorite, so I'll agree with you there.
I mean, it's Empire for me in terms of like.
I'm like a 4.
Empire's my second.
So like, here's the thing about it. Star Wars is of course my like the scrappy upstart favorite of like, you know, it's like the student film dopeness. Empire is like that chick in the if you saw that meme where she's in the movie theater on a date and she's like, "Ooh, you want me to get popcorn and he got money." Like it's Empire is like he got money one version.
It was like a real movie.
It's like, oh yeah,
bro, it's the best directed one, dog. Oh my gosh, it was so clean. Cinematography is stupid.
Everything is just heightened up to that height, that way better level, and then and of course you get, you know, freaking James Earl Jones. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. You're like, oh shit! Like you over here just sitting there like bated breath. You're like,
nobody in the cast knew that line except
with the ball. I killed your father. You're like, I am your father. Like, oh, dude, like you just like hit your heart right there, like
bro.
It still hits. I was watching the other week ago to feel better after watching this movie, and I'm over here just like the chills. I might as well have been 7 again. I might as well have been 7 years old again. I was just like,
just the weight of that line. It's like, no, bro. It's like,
and he's like, no, like you're just like, yeah, you feel
that's not true. Yeah, dog.
What does Rey have?
Your hand too.
What's Rey's equivalent in the sequel trilogy? What anguish does she feel that you can just be like, man, you know what?
Screaming and swinging a lightsaber at a rock, like she doesn't go through any struggle in these movies.
And that's what makes it. You don't like it after a while. These people are not gonna like sit here and watch. You know, I'm gonna watch Skywalker. I'm gonna sit here and rewatch it. I always tell these people, I'm like, yeah, it was cool enough to watch it on the first time, but how you gonna revisit it? A lot of people are like, I'm not gonna revisit it. That's dumb. I don't revisit all movies. I'm like, these Star Wars movies are revisited all the time by fans and known and loved and cherished for ages. So if it don't do that, it's not a good Star Wars film.
You know what, Rey? I think they experimented with a character arc that you can't do this and have 3 different directors, which was the original plan. They wanted her.
Different directors in the original.
They wanted her trial, her struggle to be acceptance, like belonging.
Yeah,
that's a real weak for like an action adventure. It's a real weak to begin with. You gotta be really good to pull that off.
I was watching a Red Letter Media and they were saying something along those lines where they were talking about like, yeah, like she only has like one main thing of like, trying to acceptance and trying to belong, and like that's that versus all these other bits that our protagonists usually have, like. Yeah. You know, because the whole, I like to say, now that we're talking about the mentors and stuff like that, the whole archetype of the hero's journey, so not even hark on Luke Skywalker, we can just pull it over to Harry Potter. Harry Potter and Luke Skywalker are like 2 of the same hero's journey, and kind of throughout the whole time period, younger disaffected youth trying to figure out that they have actual power, going against a huge, great, dark evil that's affecting the whole world or galaxy or whatever may have you, that they only have the power to be able to go and save the day, this and that, third. Like, and you see just how many problems that Harry had year in and year out at that damn school. And just he had to deal with, being popular, being unpopular, having money, being thrust into this situation. People liking him, people disliking him all the way through and through. Wow, Rey is just this nice, happy person that does nothing wrong, this flower child that we were like, okay, and you want us to make us think that she's bad. How?
You know what could have made this trilogy much better is if Kylo was the main character, because all the things that you normally see in a hero's journey.
Just sexist. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Imagine Kylo is this supposed heir to Darth Vader who's struggling with the light. He has this fucking beacon of light side power. that's always fucking hounding him that he's trying to fucking convert, but she ends up being the one to convert him, and then he goes on to conquer the actual great evil, which is Snoke / Palpatine / please a better villain. Like that would have been a great, and I would have respected Disney for coming with that angle. It almost feels like Kylo's the main character anyway. He gets so much screen time.
He really is.
Well, that's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. Here's where I say that agenda crap goes and messes up a good character. Because when you can have a character that can't do no wrong, because you got to make her be a great role model all the time, it hinders all this other kind of crap that you do with this character. So now you're putting all this extra stuff on the the big bad guy over here. But now we want to hang out with him more. Because he's interesting. You're like, actually, you're like, yeah, she likes her. We know how she likes her coffee every day. We know exactly how she likes her coffee, and it's like her space coffee, her space blue milk every day. We know exactly what it is from every movie. And for us to be like, oh, she might like chocolate blue milk, like by the third one, I'm like, no, she likes regular blue milk. So by that time you're over here looking at Kylo like, well, maybe how does he take it? How does he, 2 scoops, one this man's throwing a whole fit, so people over here walking by like, man, I ain't messing with this guy. He ain't right. That boy ain't right, So like I definitely see what you mean by that, what everyone means by that, and like people don't really think of it that way until years later. It's gonna come out in the wash. It's all gonna come out in the wash. I think I'm getting another message here. This guy, I'm getting like, hey man, like we're doing all right. We got 2 people watching, first time rocking. I love y'all both for watching us. We got 1 person coming in from Japan, my brother for sure. So like we worldwide, y'all.
Hey.
Worldwide, y'all.
Straight up,
Mr. Worldwide. So let's see. His Kylo as a main character would have been good and very star killer. Force Unleashed. Yeah, I mean that's the thing about. I was about to say that earlier. We were talking. I'm like, even if they threw some star killer from Force Unleashed in there, they had a whole wealth of stuff that we could just did. That's another thing about the Star Wars trilogy. You're like, dude, it's not like I didn't have the material. Y'all had it there.
Kathleen Kennedy specifically said they don't have any material to work with.
Oh, you got that thing too. You watched some of the same videos I saw because and then George Lucas was sitting right there, and he's like, "You have a whole like EU, the whole thing right there," and and I'm like, "Yeah, you do, you really do." And
I used to approve them, so
it
exists.
Yeah, throughout our whole existence.
All of it.
Our whole existence is really the EU, and it's like, oh no, none of that happened.
Just trash.
And that's the biggest sin that they've committed, I feel, because that's really where a lot of this comes from. Y'all can't make nothing else new. Y'all just trying to rehash the same sausage
without saying so. Because we can tell that's Anakin Solo. That's Jason.
I don't know, man. Watch that Force Awakens trailer again. They said it quite blatantly. That Force Awakens trailer, more of the same that you knew and loved. Like, they did this. They did a lot of that. They were like, okay.
I'm like, that's not even already a good thing, bro.
And it's not like we said earlier how Disney, we want to say Marvel is different, but Marvel is Disney as well. So it's like, Disney has a whole lot of input on their movies, and they have a certain, storyline they want to go all about. But like my whole thing about it is where Star Wars is obviously not that property. I don't understand what they're doing over there because you got Aladdin tanking. Don't let me get started on Lion King. This is our boy Jon Favreau that did that stuff too. That I'm gonna have a whole nother probably a live stream, a 90s kid live stream. We'll have a Lion King one time because for the real ones, like we're gonna be. That's probably going to be a whole thing. But the fact of the matter that they don't care about their products like that anymore. They're not going crazy about it. They're not they're not being careful. You
know what it is? You're not their audience, bro.
Nah, the kids don't even like it like that either. The kids don't even like it like that. That's the kind of funniest thing. Like you don't see kids running around talking about, oh boy, I love Kylo Ren. Not even to the point. You remember Darth Maul shirts in '99? Like you didn't see it. Like you don't see Kylo Ren like that in 2015 to now.
Darth Maul ain't even talking the movies. We love Darth Maul.
Exactly. Same thing with Boba Fett. Like same thing about all that. We loved it because those movies were straight enough, and even Final Minutes kind of sucked. And it was like whatever. So my thing about it, Star Wars was a bigger property. It's cutting and splitting time between Marvel now. That's why another thing. These kids don't care about it as much. Where it's like, yo, I like Iron Man. I like Captain Marvel. I like Ant-Man. I like whoever the heck it is there. They don't. Yeah, especially because you don't have nothing to linchpin on. Finn doesn't have an arc. Rey is perfect. Kylo Ren is the bad guy. Your mom may not want you to act like the bad guy or be the hollow bad guy for Halloween. You can't dress up like that. You gotta be Finn, or Poe or something like that. Or Rey. You're a dude, you gotta be Rey.
Son.
Yeah, little boy got the little 3 bump thing in his head. That's the thing about it, where that's what we're going off of now. That's Disney does not like you said, oh, it's not meant for you, but you're still trying to get my money. Yeah, everybody likes to make that excuse after the fact. No, we're not gonna come back to it and enjoy it. I said this about like Lion King as well. I'm like, no, this return factor is a huge part of where Disney gets their dough from too. Yeah, Disney Plus here and there or this and that and the third, but no, we're not gonna this Last Jedi and Force Awakens, all that stuff is not gonna be like, oh man, run it back. Like how you used to pop those Disney VHS tapes back in the day, man.
I don't know, man. We'll see, because the prequels are hated, but now the prequels are at least liked.
In comparison,
they're accepted better. They're accepted a lot better now. I will definitely say, because I'll just say what Red Letter Media says. It was a guy's vision. It was ultimately at the end of the day a guy's vision that we saw, even if it was Dexter Jetster inside of a 1950s diner or like whatever the heck. He did some stupid stuff. When you watch it, you're like, bro, this is
George Lucas, man.
Weird.
Really, it's a very good idea, man. But he needs to be stopped. He needs to be reined in.
He's a team around him, and not just a bunch of yes men.
Cut it out.
Yep.
You go, George. You're the man, George. Whatever you want, man.
Yep. And now we got what we got. And looking back at it, I'm like watching some of this stuff, and I feel he does feel that he should have gave us something more. Like maybe I should have got off my butt and gave y'all a different angle.
He knows.
Not A cam, B cam, A cam, B cam all the time. No, dude, that really is one of the main things about the prequels that I will never ever forget. Flat camera. If any camera's dynamic, it's a 3D camera.
That's not how you.
All right, I'm looking at Ryan Johnson over here lining up the most beautiful, amazing shots possible. Yeah, it's at a Canto Bite, but it's one of those things where I'm like, and man, he at least cared how he lined up the shot. George's like, all right, we're just gonna have our amazing Darth Vader storyline come up on A cam, B cam.
Yeah, George is like, look, we don't have time for camera angles. Okay, this is politics. These kids need to understand what's going on.
And also, he sacrificed a lot for the CGI back in the day. You got to think about it. All that, even though it looks dated as hell now, that was all crazy technical shots. Every shot was 300-something CGI special effects in it. And Qui-Gon Jinn's, Liam Neeson, his height alone added $100 million to the whole production because of the
seriously?
Yeah, because the extra foot of green screen.
Damn.
Yeah, just him being in the shot. Because he needed extra green sheet to his head line of extra scenery, extra stuff, extra ships flying by. That's more money. So they calculated it out in a magazine. I remember being a kid reading that, and they were like, "Yeah, around $100 million."
That's crazy as hell. Yo, I gotta wrap up, but I want to ask y'all one question.
What's up, man?
What movie do you think had the best space fight scene? Dog fights, space battle.
The original is gonna be the classic and pristine work. Star Wars. It's called Star Wars. This is for me. But then
you're purist, I see.
But then right next to it, I guess tying for 2 would be Return of the Jedi space battle dogfight that no one ever really thinks about because they're always talking about the Ewok battles. It's a really good space battle over top. And then Rogue One.
Word.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm gonna put it between Rogue One is number 2. I'm gonna give number 1 not to Last Jedi. He fucking wasted the time with that shit. Episode 4, I'm gonna put at episode 4. We put at 1 because it had a lot of weight talkers going on, and then like we have like the main hero in the midst of the stakes. Like, is he ready? Is he prepared? That was our first time. That was our only. It's a trench fight. Like, it's iconic. Like, I think
Built on it. It's all based on it. Like the fight, the battle, the dogfight is the main part of what is supposed to happen here because he's like, that's the only way we're gonna get this mission done.
And like my last, I would give it like I like what was going on, like the idea of the beginning of episode 3. There wasn't a whole lot going on. It was focused on too much like the quips, and it was focused on too much of Anakin and Obi-Wan. I'm not arguing attack, but that whole war over Coruscant, that was too impactful of a point in the history for you to be like, all right, well, let's just focus on them. Because you just come off a clone. So I would give it to that if it gave me more context behind it, because I know what level that battle was.
Yeah. 3 opened up really nicely with that whole point. I was watching it again, like, yeah, dude, that was because at that time you wanted an injection, a punch into the gut. Like, man, give me something here. That episode 1 battle was not that good.
Nah.
Trick.
Oh, I talk about that.
It was like watching him on like one of those roller coaster rides where like the screen shows the shit that's happening. He's just like, yeah, woo!
Oh my gosh, there's Hollow and there's Yarn to try. I want to talk about episode 1 of Dog.
Yeah, we got to end on a better note.
and that Force Rage Obi-Wan, those are my favorite parts.
Yeah,
he came in with like
I think mine's is Rogue One, Return of the Sith, New Hope. That's always been episode
Revenge.
3. What did I say?
Return of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Sorry.
Yeah. But this man switched it back over. Like, he just read it to the original.
Jedi.
Exactly. It was like, well, okay.
I said episode 6
all
too.
right, George. See.
All right, so he's making his own movies.
Yeah, man.
I watch But basically, I appreciate y'all coming be along for this awesome, Star Wars first inaugural live stream of the G channel, man. Like, I honestly, it went way better than I thought it would. Honestly, I was just like, man, we gonna probably just get on here and it's whatever. I'm surprised people stayed on for as long as they did.
It's a lot to talk about, man.
It was. Because I was thinking about, I was like, dang, dude, I have enough to even say. We were like, I think we got it. Always welcome to hit me up about any other type of stuff, Star Wars stuff. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all are friends of the show as always. But I think we're gonna wrap it up here, guys.
All right. Well, thanks for inviting me.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
And I appreciate y'all out there. So definitely, y'all have a good one. Stay safe. We out.
Have a good night.
Peace.